If anybody wants to message me on Discord, please do so I can get your name right in the future. They've rounded the final corner then. We're about to get underway. Tight, twisty, fast and flowing in the wet. We're green and go here for round 3 of the AM season. Ramsey Jimenez gets a good start immediately up into second place as that is Foxxtecca, who just goes a little wide but takes that go-karting line almost and slingshots out onto the grass. Now we've noticed out of turn 1. So it's Troy Anderson from Ramsey Jimenez. Foxxtecca still there, who has been fighting Foxxtecca hard, and Russell Blanco, but I've not seen Russell out there at the moment. There's a bit of contact, and Davis into the side of Hafdal. As Davis now gets ahead of Foxxtecca up into 3rd place, and look at how wide some of the drivers are into turn 3. They're all going down. Foxxtecca is off in the grass on the outside of turn 3. The white means they're over a second behind on the interval times. The yellow means they're within 1 second to half a second, and the orange means they're pretty much neck and neck as Deanna Reen and Jimmy Carroll going neck and neck now through the S's, really tight and twisty, managing to keep 2 big bulky Ford Mustangs without touching each other.
But Troy Anderson has dropped down to 4th. Yeah, damage on that car, so he's made a critical error.
There is Davis just behind him, coming up the brow of the hill. It's, oh no! The Porsche has hit a puddle on the pit exit.
That's just allowing letting the drivers behind know that there is indeed a car up ahead, no matter how much white spray that they're currently seeing. Ahmed pulls back, and there's a car on the inside. My goodness, there's chaos.
It's Davis!
It's Davis has gone off the track. Following Troy Anderson had an incident earlier. Apologies about that. There's the car in the middle. It's rained Woodside across the track. But positioning it dead in the middle of the track with the combination of mist. I mean, we just saw it. We just saw it on board there with
Jimmy Carroll.
Evan Davis. There's contact, and Carroll makes contact with Borgwin, and Deanna Reen is trying to go on the right-hand side. Under the Continental banner, we go down towards the downsloping part. Izzy looking around the outside and into the inside. They go for the next corner. Deanna Reen with a great overtake. Into the right-hander, he's going to go. I can already see it. He's way too far on the left. And over the grass, he's going to go. Cannot stop the car.
There is Dawson Lathan in the red and light blue Lamborghini just behind. But what a race this is turning out to be here in the wet of the Canadian Motorsport. Dawson Lathan has lost it into the wall, just as we said he was doing well.
That he was not expecting, down into 25th currently in the pit lane. Another one of our BMW drivers, off he goes in the same spot that we just saw. He can't catch it. My goodness, that was close.
So now is Foxxtecca looking for a move on Ramsey Jimenez. Well, Ramsey Jimenez is around.
Jimenez came across the track there. And, there you can see there's a McLaren in the way, and they're all trying to avoid. And then here comes Jimenez back onto the racing line. Unfortunately, Foxxtecca is on the inside line there.
What a shame. Ahmet Ohm into the pits from the lead of this race. We said we might not need to pit. Ahmet Ohm has clearly felt the need. Here is Ahmet Ohm, just about to put a lap on what looks to be the Simplay racing car of Tanner Nebo. So through she goes, back up into 5th place. Although she's off. Rejoins. That's it. She's straight on the anchors there. Oh, dear me, nearly into the Mercedes. And is Ahmet, she's parked it. She's out of the race. That is Samuel Petit on the back of Hafdal then. Was on the back. There's 2 off, 3 off in the background. The Aston spins 2 run wide. Just stay there. There's a Mustang. Oh my God, that was beautifully reversed. That was. And then, oh my days, I thought there was going to go 3 wide for a moment. Then Foxxtecca beat Bull Flag. He's out the race.
And coming down.
He's done the exact same thing as. He's done the same thing as
possibly. Yeah, same thing.
Same spot. He's catching people out. Borgwin's now got a black flag to his name. So Borgwin's now got a drive-through penalty. After the drive-through penalty, there are cars off everywhere as the leaders are coming through. That is Sauber onto the grass. Sauber's downwards and loses the podium at the very end of the race. Herschel takes it.
What in the world?
Yeah, Deanna Reen's going to finish the race. So Declan Deanna Reen is going to come across on home soil and wins.
He looks like he did get 3rd because Davis has got a black flag penalty for why Evan Davis.
Now watch, he's going to drop the rear here. There you go, rear goes. Bang.
Oh. And just not having the BOP balance required for that car to be dominant enough, and just having to settle. But we are looking to go racing here for the first time for the Pro Series for round number 3, the only race for tonight, and it is a great start for David Toth up in front. Molly Job holding the inside line though from Meat, who's already going to get along the outside line. The 2 Mustangs going side by side. This is giving a great runaway though for David Toth compared to the Pro-Am's race, and so the lesser amount of water on track has really provided a little bit of action. There's a tap though, and Grabowski's around, but what a great save.
That was DeSantis, I believe, who was off track there, dropping down. And Matisse as well. Oh, it's just been a call loose the rear. Matisse gets shoveled out wide a little bit there. Oh, bit of a tap from DeSantis. What a save, though.
Coming into the braking zone, into the next couple of sweeping corners, goes on the inside. What on earth happened with... Oh, that's huge.
Yeah, that's a strange one for sure. This is Laubish going up the inside of Johnson. Through he goes, and look behind. Boyshev on Neshev. But yeah, Dianarine there. Not sure what happened, Tristan, but big mistake, although they're 3 wide almost here. This is Zohair Ahmed with that Atai done it, and I believe DeSantis as well, looking right around the outside. Heavy braking zone coming up. What a job from DeSantis there.
Exactly what I wanted to see when I created this league.
And this is... Whoa! That was Russell Soto, was it?
Right now at the top, there's not really much competition coming from anyone else. Pascucci still holding off Valero, and here comes the overtake we were talking about. Valero on the inside line was just close enough, and I believe it was side by side, but unfortunately the door did get somewhat slammed.
Coming through into the final corner, that's Zohair Ahmed getting a little close to the rear of Cart. Now looking to the outside line as they drop down into turn 1. Zohair Ahmed still trying to hold it strong around the outside. If it was wet, I'd have fancied him to make the move done. Nearly squeezed out a road, but Ahmed keeps the nose there, gets the move done. Beautiful move from the Golden Falcon.
As they try and work their way around track, but wherever Toth lies, he is going to be pushing his car, and there we now see Rodrigo Meets coming in, and Joff has decided to stay out.
I tell you what, the overcut has worked a beauty because Meets has jumped Toth. That is Meets right in front of David Toth here.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, 33 seconds up the field, and Meets has just managed to get the jump. Molly Joff will be slightly ahead with having a bit of clean air racing, and over the curb.
Hasn't come out yet, and here come the leaders now. So Marley Joff is, in fact, he is leaving the pits, and there he goes, look, into the lead of this race.
Oh, wow.
And that is because Marley Joff's pit stop was a second or 6/10 of a second quicker than that of Meets, as David Toth has just got past Meets. Meets gets him back there side by side in the background. Toth in the white, Meets in the yellow and black, and David Toth gets through now. As they come down towards down the back straight once more. Toth is looking left and right, peeks out to the left one more time. It'll be the outside line for the first part of the S's, heading inside line, try to hold it. Little bit of contact between the two. Down the back straight in towards the S as they come. He does have a look to the outside, has a bit more of a nose alongside that of Marley Joff now. It'll be the inside. Joff will have that inside line though for the final corner. Marley Joff defending the inside as much as he can and stays ahead of David Toth for the time being. And Chris, this has brought Meets back into play as Toth has a look up the inside of Marley Joff for the moment. Gets the momentum, gets the run. Coming up to the right-hander though. Marley Joff comes back at him once more. Through the double right-hander they go. And Marley Joff somehow hanging on to this lead.
This is some racing.
Yeah, this is definitely some racing indeed, and some great opposition and defense coming from these top 3, and Toth is back to where he wanted to be into the next corner sequence, so they do have to watch out here not to fight too much, or David Toth is going to run away with the easiest win here due to the drivers behind him fighting, so they do have to just be mindful. But in terms of consistency, in terms of raw pace, there's only been one man to keep it up there. One man to bring it across whites and bring it onto the checkered flag line is David Toth for the Sesha Esports, who takes the win here for the pro race. What an incredible victory that is. Joff takes second and Meets his third.
I was surprised after the pit stops, because I was so sure that I had a 4 seconds gap. Yeah, they somehow jumped me. I was already telling myself that I lost the win, but they were suffering a bit with the cold tires, and it was a fair and very enjoyable last few laps for me.
But thank you all once again for tuning in and joining us live. From myself, Chris Harris, Tristan Herbst, and our producer, Mr. Comedian Jim Cunningham. We will see you all in a week's time at Interlagos. Goodbye. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are across the world. It is the League by Foxxtecca for the 4th round of the season. The halfway stage of the championship takes us to Brazil, Sao Paulo and Interlagos, one of the most historic circuits in the world. It brings great entertainment. It is never a dull race here around this beautiful, iconic 2.6 mile circuit here in Brazil. Famous for having great fan support as well. You've seen the fans in the likes of Formula One and World Endurance Championships, where the support for the Brazilian drivers, none more so than the man painted at the end of the pit lane, that of Ayrton Senna. The support he used to get around this circuit is incredible. But it's our turn to take to the track. Matthew Duffin joined by Tristan Herbst in the commentary box. Chris Harris, we hope, will be joining us once again, and our producer Jim Cunningham will be bringing you all the action live. And Tristan, no more famous circuit than this one in the world. This is going to be an entertaining night for sure.
Yeah, we've definitely hit a pinnacle here for season number 3, with round number 4 coming in right in the middle of it, and with an absolute banger of a circuit for some GT racing. But not even that, just the circuit so well fit for any kind of car to be placed on it. So we get to witness the GT3s go around Interlagos tonight, and like we've just been speaking about, I mean, I don't even think we can say we're glorifying it, because it genuinely is just such a good circuit for racing. It is so well balanced and structured in terms of technicality, as well as having a couple of good straights for a good amount of overtaking competition. And with the GT3 class, it's sure to be nicely balanced out there for our AM class, which starts off right in the beginning. We're going to go into your track map. Matthew's going to take you through it. He absolutely loves Interlagos, and I'm sure you might even know a couple of the trees' names around the circuit. And so we'll have a look at that in the brief few moments.
So here we are then, Interlagos, as we said, the 2.678 mile circuit, 4.309 in kilometres. This layout of the circuit's been open since 2017 in what is a fantastic, iconic circuit, with the grandstands down the outside from all the way from turn 14 down to the turn number 1 of 1 and 2, the Senna S's. I don't think El Rouge even has anything on the Senna S's. You dip downhill through 1 and 2 in 2 very technical corners to get absolutely right, off camber as well, so overtaking, very interesting to see into there. Turn 3 of the Curva do Sol, a long left-hander. You have to get this absolutely spot on before you come down the Reta Caposta straight into war, that of De Largo, turn number 4 and 5. Real crucial corner, turn 4. Get it wrong, you can be so far out onto the runoff like Lance Stroll was on a formation lap a couple of years ago. Get it right, you slingshot through 5, up the hill in towards out of turn number 6. 6 into 7, you're kind of lifting off the throttle, a little dab on the brakes, off the throttle, let the car rotate around 7 before just picking up that throttle momentarily, hard on the brakes into 8, probably even dropping down to first gear, coming downhill into turn number 9. This section of the circuit, you can get in such a nice flow and rhythm, and I love that about it. Through turn 9 you go, coming back up the hill into turn 10. Once again, hard on the brakes, real sharp corner, turn 10. Possibly a chance for overtaking as you come round the 10th corner of turn number 10. You come down into turn 11, downhill, big race curb on the inside line through turn 11 before you hit that of Junsao, turn number 12. Crucial corner to get a great exit on, because you come out of 12, flat scat through 13 and 14, and you are flat until you get back down to the Senna S's. So out of Junsao, turn 12, key to get a great exit. And what a run you get, Tristan, as you climb uphill through 12 and 14 and 15. You then start to see the grandstands appearing on that right-hand side, the famous pit lane on that left-hand side, and you just get this, you get almost surrounded like you're in a stadium arena from the grandstands and the pit lane of just pure cheer and excitement from the crowd as you rise up the hill down towards the start line. And that is a lap of Interlagos.
Yeah, great race we've got coming up today. Yeah, turn 12 being super pinnacle, as well as it's on the lower side of the track, as you have to climb all the way up to 13, 14, and 15 to get back up on to the checkered line. So it's quite a bit of a push against that car, and equaling that out with an on-track battle just adds for even more of the competition. And so looking at it, we do still have a couple of our points coming in from round number 3, which was quite an eventful day at Mosport last week with all the rain that we got handed. And so a couple of our drivers really did shine and a couple really did not, unfortunately. And so those points really did change up. Saba currently leads the championship with 220 points. It's a bit of a change up. He climbs up to the top spots, and Caden Box-Miller sits second with 212. Andrew Herschel to 10 to his name, with Evan Davis down in fourth with 195 points. Ramsey Jimenez is tied for fourth, though, with Dan Gorbatenko in sixth. Seventh is Karstien Havdal with Vigard Hendrickson in eighth. Alex Rosal Blanco in ninth, and Troy Anderson holds at the bottom of the top 10 with 140 points. You can see the rest of our drivers for the AM Championship just below as well, from 10th downwards. It's a huge and stacked grid for the AM class, so a lot of drivers there. We see Declan Denarin in 24th. He won last week at Mosports, and so definitely pulled him a couple of points up, and now he's got to continue to fight for the remainder of the season. But Matthew, I believe we get grace this week with our first Format B here at Interlagos, which is going to prove to be ever so important.
Indeed it is. And if you're unfamiliar to what Format B is, it's 2 races, 2 important races. The first one is 25 minutes, a sprint almost, if you will, where the result of that race will determine the grid for race 2. With a twist, the top 8 in that race results will be inverted. So 8th place will become 1st, 7th, 2nd, and so on and so forth. That is crucial for where you kind of almost the strategy you want to play out in this qualifying session, as we see what happens going through race 1 into race 2, which is 30 minutes in length. Now the points are then halved from Format A, so you still can score the same amount of points if you win both races as what you would for winning the race in Format A. They're just half across the 2. So the tricky thing tonight, Tristan, and this is the thing going forward in this championship battle, is yes, you can score the same points as Format A, but that little bit of uncertainty, that 2 different races, no pit stops, by the way, because the tanks are 100%, so they will get to the end of the race. So there shouldn't be any pit stops unless there's damage. Could have a absolutely detrimental factor into your championship if you get it wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. So the strategy goes completely out the window for a Format B, but the sprint mindset has to come into our drivers in this racing format. There's no longer the long 1-hour badge that sits up in the top left, which obviously throws the driver into a bit of a pitfall in terms of strategy and trying to think ahead. It's now 25 and 30-minute splits respectively. Like Matthew mentioned, equal points to be generated from both the sprint and the feature, which means drivers will be pushing equally as hard to try and render 2 times the amount of both points in both of the sessions, to hopefully try and rack up as much as they can in the sessions. I always enjoy a good Format B. It's nice to see the break between the 2 sessions, and you really do see a bit of a different personality out of some of our drivers, because like I say, that number board, it really does change how a driver tries to take the circuit. It's no longer about trying to get the car to the end of the 1 hour. It's about just trying to get it into to the end of the 25, and then obviously trying to get into that 1 to 8th rotation, the reverse split, to hope for the best possible advantage heading into the feature. We're about 10 minutes into our AM qualifying, then. We do have Evan Davis sitting at the top of those timing towers, a 131.9, with Andre Saba, the current championship leader, sitting second with that 132.1. Fortunately, last week's winner, Declan Denarin, currently sits 11th. He hasn't gotten the best lap time in just as of yet. Let's hope he can improve in these last 5 minutes. Ahmed Ohm currently sits 6th. Also, a real champion driver that we saw at Mosport, gaining a couple of great advantages throughout the circuit, and then unfortunately just dropping off towards the end, due to just not having it all under control in the wet. So let's hope that at Interlagos for the Bully Boys team, we can see the Lamborghini shine up in the top 5 and hopefully all the way to the end.
Indeed so, and we hope that this week we've got a few of the car patches fixed, because we know that the Acura in the Pro Series for Dawson Lathan wasn't loading in. He was in a Lamborghini last week, so hopefully that's sorted for later on in the evening. I'm also not seeing our Spanish driver there on the timing screens. That of Rosal Blanco. He's not on the timing screen, so he's obviously not here again tonight. Now, the drivers do get a drop score throughout this series. They get a drop round throughout this series, which means their lowest score of the season will be subtracted from their championship points. The problem is for Osel Blanco is he missed last week, so this is going to be another one which will be a no score for him, and will kind of throw him out to this championship contention almost, because the way Davis and Saba have been racing, as well as Parks Miller, they're tough to beat. And you know, it'd be great to see Ahmet Ohm finish a couple of races here, because she's one that could really mix it up in the championship. Ramsey Jimenez not here today. I know personally that he's in Disney World in Florida, gone away with his family. So instead of racing at Interlagos, he's gone to, you know, go see Mickey Mouse and all that lot. So this will be his drop round. Ahmet and Ramsey Jimenez just outside that championship fight at the moment, but all within touching distance. So you really feel like a good couple of rounds for the pair of them when Ramsey's back, and for Ahmet tonight could really put them in that contention. As we can see here, our young 8-year-old of Landon Batson, he's got the camera on this week, and great to see the young man behind the wheel. I think this is the first time we've had a camera for Landon over the 2 seasons we've been commentating on him, running a nice livery in the Team Nix coloured car there. So he's even got himself a team car and livery for this week. So great to see the young man taking it to them, and look at him there, triple monitors, it looks like that as well. So he is here, all the gear for Landon Batson out there, loving that.
Yeah, we were just talking in the background before this started. Jim saying he's jealous about the new monitor I'm getting. I think we've got to be jealous about this 8-year-old who's absolutely slamming, I think, all 3 of our setups combined. I mean, my goodness, that triple screen setup is definitely looking like he's got all the advantages needed to make the correct moves today. And as we mentioned, looks like Team Nix has picked up the young 8-year-old. That's a great future investment, if you have to ask me. We've seen his improvement over the past 3 seasons, and I think he's only just going to get better. In terms of Ramsey Jimenez, I'm not really sure if that drop-off is so worth it for Disneyland over Interlagos. Maybe another track, but Interlagos is not worth it, in my personal opinion. Sorry to say it, but what a great track that he misses out on. And talking about the track, we do have a couple of people on our virtual grandstand. Woods Nicole saying this track looks ominous. I think quite the opposite. It looks a bit dangerous from the outside, but once you actually get your feet on this track, it is possibly one of the best and most fun driving experiences that one could wish for. And I'm talking multi-class. You can do this in a Formula One car. You can do this in any kind of open wheeler. You can do it in a tin top. Heck, you can do it in the European Truck Racing Series. And I bet that this track would be fun. It is just one of those circuits that accumulates motorsport as an iconic venue for racing. And we're going to get to see that tonight. 2 minutes left of our IM qualifying, and then we get to go.
And it's one of them, Tristan, isn't it? Like you say, you look on a piece of paper, and this track looks a daunting track when you look at the layout of it on a piece of paper or on a screen. But then when you get in the cockpit and you drive this circuit, I don't know about you, and I don't know about Jim, our producer, that you guys can't hear. You can get into such a rhythm. This is one of them circuits that I class as one that you get a nice flow. It's got a lovely flow to Interlagos, that middle sector especially. You get in the rhythm round Interlagos, it's almost like you're floating on air if you can get this track right, because it is so rewarding. It can bite you. It can bite you. Normally as well, by the way, don't worry in the grandstand. I've seen the weather. There's no rain forecast, surprisingly for Interlagos, because it just likes to chuck up a bit of rain here and there. So we are expecting dry races, but the rhythm and the flow you can get in around this circuit as Borgwin there moves up into P3. Just see it as well. Woods Nicole saying, how cute is Landon? Hayley Batson in the chat, triple monitor stand coming. He was impatient, so we used the TV mounts. So I wonder if that's Landon's mum in the chat. They are new and he loves them. Well, there we go. So he's got the triple stands coming. They've just used the wall mounts for now, and the triple stands are coming. Yeah, I think you're right, Tristan. I think he's got a better setup than all 3 of us combined.
I think he genuinely does. And talking about impulsiveness in the sim racing hobby, man, I think every single person suffers with that, because you so badly just want to get those things sorted. I myself included, I've had so many experiences where I just want to try and get something that I've maybe even gone for a cheaper or an alternative that's closer by, which in the end was not the smartest move. And I should have maybe waited and been patient. But it's very difficult in this hobby. You always want to try and improve, and when you can visualize those things with other people who have got them, man, it is a sweet success once you get your hands on it. So yeah, that's a huge bump there for Landon Batson with the triple monitor setup or triple TV setup. Not too sure which one it 100% is, because those guys are looking huge around him, but he's definitely going to have all the displays he might need. Quick one though before we get into our qualifying board, a big thank you again to our sponsors at the league by Foxxtecca. The African American Automotive Association has been with us for a couple of seasons now. Great to have them still up on board. Dakins Designs for a couple of the vehicles that will be rocking their designs out on the grid. Roasted records for bringing all the fuel to our drivers in these late night stints for the Europeans, and the early mornings for the Europeans, and then the slightly later at night for the Americans. And then finally our Super Lap phase team, who are racing in the pros and in the amps.
Indeed, we are the grid then for round number 4 of the season. For the first race of the night is Evan Davis on pole from Andre Sauber. Owen Baldwin is P3 from Troy Anderson. Jimmy Carroll alongside Andrew Herschel. Peyton May from Caden Parks-Miller. Work to do down in P8. Ahmet Ohm is down in 9th from Declan Dionarini, who worked his way back up to 10th place. So a good qualifying that for Declan. Dominic Amaro is P11 from Colin Flynn, rounding out the top 12.
Yeah, 13th onwards, and probably still another stacked grid for our AM class. It's Casey Berry that's 13th. Alex Altericio will take 14th, with Archie Woods down 15th for the Super Lap X-Days team. Julian Rees in 16th position. Kamari Odom for the Foxxtecca team 17th, with Nicholas Lorosso in 18th. Costin Havdal for the RAA Simsport team down 19th, with Dan Gorbatenko a long way to work up in 20th. Tristan Vincent for the Clutch Night crew in 21st, with Manu Sueshi Manoto in 22nd. Shelton Lewis currently sits 23rd, with Lewis Holloway in 24th.
In 25th, then, Bowie Sewin is P25 from Randy Olivo in 26th. Anton Shopler, 27th place from Barchos. Bishnixi, I've got it wrong again, 28th place for him. Drew Metcalf is 29th. Alan Ware is 30th from Samuel Patty. Ken Majori, 32nd from Uvin Sandirigama in 33rd. Tanner Nebo 34th. Oliver Sigurdsson, 35th. And Rain Woodside in 36th.
Yeah, just a few left to round off this inaugural grid. 37th is John Smallwood, with Aiden Santiago Lopez and Caden Coolidge. Alexis Barrington will be starting a little bit further down 40th. Landon Batson for the Team Knicks down 41st. Jeremy Alvarado in 42nd. And Paul Collishaw, the Prince Dream Porsche Futsuma Racing, unfortunately down in 43rd, and a long way up that he's going to have to fight in this huge stacked grid around a beautiful Interlagos. Here early in the morning for myself and Matthew, late tonight for the Americas, where Jim currently sits, our producer, who's going to be bringing you all the shots for this race. The AM class for heat number 1, which is your sprint race, and then your feature coming up just after that. I am so looking forward to this. Format B, I believe the first one for us and the drivers for the season, and so I think the drivers are just as hyped as we are, Matthew.
They are indeed, I can imagine. And apologies, it's Bartosz Bashinsky in the Canadian driver down the order. So apologies for that one. Hopefully we'll get it right for the rest of the night. But I'm really looking forward to Format B. I know that Tristan and Jim are. I know that the drivers on the grid will always look forward to a good old Format B race. And if they're new drivers to the league by Foxxtecca, you're in for an absolute treat, because this is 25 minutes, of pure racing action here around this Interlagos circuit as we are coming through towards the start line. The safety car will peel off into the pit lane in a moment or two's time. The helicam here and in Sao Paulo, overlooking all these cars, very bunched up and tight at the start of this field, by the way, as we now go green and go here. Already a bit of contact from the front runners at the start of this race, but your pole man has got away nice and clean at the very start. And look at that, 4, 5, even maybe 6 wide coming through in towards the Senna S's. There you go. And there are cars absolutely everywhere. Thankfully, though, they all get through facing in the right direction. Davis now, though, with a great start that he needed, powers down the second part of the straight here towards turn 4. Excuse me, as they all filter through. Nice and clean in towards turn 4. 2 and 3 wide, still in the background. Still trying to hold on here, as this is the Mercedes-Benz of Owen Baldwin. Looking up the inside of Troy Anderson. As back down the order, there is Gianarine on the back of Ahmet Ohm as well. Coming up towards turn number 5 and 6. 6 and 7, for the first time. On board with Dominic Amaro. Looking to the outside of Declan Gianarine. Coming under pressure from Colin Flynn, though, who might have fancy his chances in towards turn 8. A little wide there from the Ford Mustang of Amaro, but manages to hold on to his place. What a start to this race, Tristan.
Yeah, incredible start. And thankfully, the Senna S's are built for that wide leg racing, like we saw 5 wide coming down into the corkscrew section there, turn 1, 2, and 3. And all cars managed to successfully get through with relative ease. We've had such a clean start here for the first heat, and we get to go racing still for another 24 or so minutes. Davis does sit up ahead, though, and he got a great start. Ahmed Ohm currently being sanctioned a little bit there by Parks Miller and May, who surround that Lamborghini slightly. She's going to have to work hard to get out of this and potentially pull further up into the top 5. May does lose out to Dianarine in the background, the red Mustang, now working to try and get a good result like he's able to do last week at Mosport, now at Interlagos, wanting to render the same results, but a little bit further back into the deep dive on the lunge into the first corner of Senna S's. It's Jimmy Carroll who goes wide, and there's contact though with Borgwin, and they've gone side by side, and Borgwin's lost the spoiler over the wall, and unfortunately that contact was inevitable. It was a good fade out, unfortunately, there for Jimmy Carroll, and they've made contact. There's even more contact in the background there with Schoppler and Herschel. So a couple of our drivers going off, and Holloway's completely off in the background there. So much has gone on, and so many drivers coming out of turn number 1. And unfortunately, Matthew, just not lap number 1. It seems like lap number 2 has been a bit of a chaos start.
Yeah, did anybody call for a race restart after the opening lap of the race? Because turn 1 was clean as a whistle. Turn 2, cars absolutely everywhere through the Senna S's and in down through turn 3 as well. So an interesting start to this race already. But this is on board with Havdal on the back of LaRusso in the Ford Mustang. And he's got Alteriso in the Ford Mustang. Mustangs everywhere you look at the moment trying to make their way through is Havdal in the one of 2 Ferraris. Brakes late and went into the back of LaRusso a little bit there. There's Declan Dianarine, though, fending off that of Flynn in the Corvette. There is LaRusso, who manages to keep going. Definite contact under braking. You can see that bit of the rear bumper there just looking like it's dented in a little bit from that tap from the Ferrari. The Ferrari may have suffered a little bit of front end damage as well as a cause of that one. Doesn't look too bad, so maybe actually they didn't touch each other. Looked like they did. Maybe they've got away with it. It was just sharp on the brakes from them all, as there's still places being changed everywhere you look on this grid. Remember, if you're new to the timing screens, the white numbers mean they're over a second. Yellow numbers between half a second and 1 second. As here comes Havdal, here comes Alteriso looking round the outside of Havdal. It'll give him the inside line for turn number 2 in towards 3. Havdal holds back onto that one. Good bit of driving there between the two of them, and through turn 3 cleanly they go.
Yeah, great bit of racing there we got in the middle pack. Unfortunately, 4 cars in that turn 2 wreck that had to tow back to pit lane. Randy Olivo, Owen Borgwin, Aiden Santiago Lopez, and Oliver Sigfusson all into the pit lane, unfortunately, with hectic damage on those cars and having to get them back in. Omid Ohm has followed clear instruction from what I just said, and she's gotten herself into the top 5 here, and great work to get herself up there, but she does have a bit of a mission with the rest of the top pack, currently being sanctioned with that white number border, like we mentioned. A little bit of a distance between most of them. Yeah, Troy Anderson is on the hunt, though, with Saba, and Parks Miller on the hunt, though, with Omet Ohm as they come through the middle sector here of the circuit. And a good bit of racing you've already gotten to witness, and thankfully, in our mid-pack, it is still 100% alive. It is orange and yellow numbers all over the place, and so we are destined to see a couple more overtakes happening. Minoto did get past Vincent at the exit of turn 12 in the previous lap, and so that's good work there from the African driver there to move up into 21st. Alex Alteriso, like we mentioned, had a bit of a fight there with Havdal. Not enough rotation coming out of turn number 2 to get ahead of that Ferrari. Here's another attack that's coming. Peyton May right on the backside now of Kamari Odom, and looking on the inside as they come up towards the checkered flag line into the CNS, so you can take that inside line over the pit line as long as you don't jump in or smack the pit wall. But Peyton May is going to have the inside line now. Will it be a good enough advantage, though, to keep it as the turn changes camber? And indeed, it looks like they are. Peyton May moves up for the Scorpio Esports team. What a good overtake. Is it going to be double, though, on the bubblegum Mercedes? And it looks like it is. And Shelton Lewis loses out to Peyton May. A double overtake through the Senna S's. What a great move from IM drivers.
And this is what the sprint and the Format B races provide. They provide non-stop action. It's almost like we say, it's half the time. You don't have that time to settle into a rhythm and build your race opportunity, knowing you've got a pit stop coming your way. So May there, leaving little left out there on the circuit, wanting to get a move on with this. This is Andrew Herschel and Bashinsky out on the circuit at the moment, going side by side in towards turn number 7. There you go, coming up towards turn 8. Tananebo waiting in the wings for something to happen between these two. Still side by side as they drop down towards turn number 10. The Superlap face car gets himself through with Andrew Herschel on the BMW. This is riding on board with Tananebo. Is he going to look for a move into turn 11? No, he's not, as they come down towards turn 12, turn 11. Now that was through turn 10, sorry. Tananebo just trying to get onto the rear of the Clutches Night Crew car. ahead as he's always dropped it. Tananibon has to avoid and go a little wide on his entry in towards Jung Sao, but the BMW goes around all on its own, and for Bashinsky there then drop the rear just to too much curb on the inside line. But Tristan, this is what Format B brings, isn't it, tonight? It brings that elbows out, aggressive racing from the drivers, because they know they've got a shorter time to get as many places gained and points in the bag.
Yes, incredible pushing coming from our drivers then. Just a bit too much there from Bartosz Baczynski, and he's going to drop off a couple of places. Caden Parks-Miller is going to be the next driver to show his worth with all the strength that's been happening. And let's have a look at what's going to happen right on the border. Parks-Miller pushing onto the backside here over Metome, and it's getting close between the two of them as they head up into turn number 5 and turn number 6 of Ferradura as they head up towards second sector now. This is where it gets complicated for an overtaking opportunity as the track does start to narrow down. Caden Parks-Miller, one diving opportunity, looks up on the inside line. It almost looked like he was going to try and take it, but not enough space granted there for the red Ferrari to make the overtake on the black and yellow Lamborghini up ahead. They do both go off circuit though, and Omet Ohm is going to drag the Ferrari with her there, now holding on the inside line, and actually a good defensive move there coming from Omet Ohm and a good recovery, because now it's placed Amaro on the backside of Parks-Miller, distancing themselves quite neatly between each other. There's Dominic Amaro, and apologies, that's not behind Parks-Miller. There's McLaren, that's one of the back markers, I believe, Randy Alivo, who's currently out on circuit, who's had a couple of, obviously an incident at the start of the race, and now sitting as a back marker behind Parks-Miller. But Amaro still within attacking distance here. Dean Areen's done a good job as well to get up into 8th. There's Shelton Lewis, the bubblegum Mercedes, down 17th currently behind the likes of Gorbatenko and Alan Wade just behind. So great little bit of racing we still got going, and we've only got just about 13 minutes left of racing here, and that's what Format B does for you. There is not a lot of time on the clock for these drivers to pound. Sorry, 17 minutes.
Elbows out, Tristan, isn't it? It's elbows out, non-stop, wheel-to-wheel action, because you know that you need to grab them points and get them in the bag as quick as you can. Parks-Miller trying to move himself forward a little bit more. Didn't have the best of qualifyings in terms of keeping up to the points with Evan Davis. This is the real movers and shakers on the grid at the moment. You can see there, Ware up 12, Tannen Ebone up 10, as well as a few others that have gained a good amount of places. Herschel's dropped 18 places. May's dropped 20. Collishaw is up 17 places from the back of the grid. So a good start for Paul Collishaw from the very back of the field. But there is absolute battles happening everywhere on the circuit at this moment in time. This is Herschel and Tannen Ebone going at it, coming up in towards turn number 8 now. A corner that you have to go so wide to get the entry in. It almost invites you to make that little lunge up the inside, as does the next corner coming up through this. You go so wide on entry that it almost invites a car to come up the inside to make that dive into the corner ahead. They're both gaining on a Mercedes-Benz in front. That is Metcalf, who's carrying quite a lot of damage. Herschel has got ahead of Metcalf. There is Metcalf trying to hold on in there. In towards Jung Sao they come. Metcalf holds that inside line over the Ford Mustang. You feel that that Mustang is going to get the run out of Jung Sao. It's not got the front-end damage that we see Metcalf have. And now, in fact, I tell you what, the Mercedes holding its own here, nearly making contact with the Ford Mustang, trying to leave it very little room on that outside line. Dipping close to the pit wall, they'll go. There is Herschel on the left. There is Metcalf on the right. And Metcalf has absolutely drove brilliant now to Jung Sao. Could try and get this place back into the centre S's. Bit of tyre smoke. That's a car off just in front. So a slow-moving BMW. Tannen Ebone's back in play as Herschel gets ahead of Metcalf. And now Tannen Ebone looks to come to the party and try and make a move. Gets a good run out of that of turn 3 of that of the Curva del Sol. Down through the Red Raposta. They go once again in towards turn 4, the Largo 4 and 5, and Tannen Ebone moves himself up ahead of Metcalf for the time being. But Metcalf really, Tristan, fighting hard in this race.
Yeah, a really good competition there coming from the Mercedes driver and limping home with that damage, but also doing incredibly well to keep the Mercedes positioned out on the grid currently down in that position we talked about, 24th position. Gorbatenko is your BMW who kind of lost it there through the center S's, but was fortunate enough to move off the racing line fast enough to allow the drivers to pass. That could have resulted in a bit of an incident. And I'm noticing now Collishaw has removed the Prince Stream livery. That is so sad to see. He's changed to an Apex Sim Racing livery on that car. The blue livery coming in, and a little bit of a wiggle there coming from Peyton May, and that's going to allow for Gorbatenko to claim back one position he just lost through the hairpins, through center S there, and he's going to be able to get one up there for the Velocity Server Racing team. Now trying to look for a possible pouncing strategy on the cars up ahead. Declan Design does get up into 7th position there, so they move up collectively. Now chasing down 2 seconds to Parks Miller. He's gone ahead of Amaro, who seems to be having a couple of blinking issues here at the mid part of the race. I've been seeing it on the left-hand timing tower for the past couple of minutes. He has been struggling a little bit there with connection issues to the server, so let's hope that those can become a little bit more redundant. In the background there, Parks Miller is fighting it out with a back marker, and so he's having quite a bit of a time there trying to feed off that back marker that we just saw. Kamari Odom is also bouncing on the inside here as we head down into the second sector up towards the turn 6 of Ferradura, and holding off there from Manusueshe Manoto behind. Let's hope we get to see a bit of a fight between all of these drivers. And I mean, off tracks are crucially important at Interlagos. It's so easy to run off. It's completely opposite to most sports like we saw last week. Well, sorry, not completely opposite, apologies. Also loads of grass on the left and right hand side, but there is a lot of area in this track for track limits to be warranted. Yeah, you can see the white line is clearly indicated on the edge of the tarmac, and so going off of the asphalt racing line is going to lead to you getting a bit of an incident point. And obviously once you exceed the amount in this 25-minute race, it is going to slap you with the drive-through penalty, so the drivers do have to be careful with that one.
And you can see a lot of the corner exits is where you can take that, because as you push yourself through the corner, as here comes Caden Parks Miller having a look on Ameto, who's already gone defensive in towards the center S, as Parks Miller thinks there was a little bit of a gap. And what was it Senna once said? If you no longer go for a gap, you're no longer a racing driver. Well, Parks Miller changed from the small gap, goes to the bigger gap on the outside, becomes the inside for 2, the outside for 3. Can't get the move done. Does he try and get the up and under? No, he doesn't. And this is what I mean about just off the circuit on the corner exits. Plenty of runoff that if you just push too hard through the corner and run over that curbing off the circuit, that is where you pick up them incident points for off tracks, and what could lead to the drive-through penalty. Right as Armet displays it for us, coming down through the turn 4 and turn 5. So easy to get the off tracks there. Even up here, look as you go to the outside line, you want to use as much curb as you can on that outside, breaking into 8, and if you drop too far over that, that is what's going to pick up the points. Thankfully, the drivers will probably be grateful that this track is a Format B because of that reason.
Yeah, definitely so. That 1 hour warrants your timer to have a bit more of an extended time out on track, and obviously more opportunity to get those drive-throughs. It resets completely into the second race, and so it gives the drivers a bit of relief and leeway in that regard. Omet Ohm is delivering an absolute masterclass of defense here against Parks Miller. Every single corner going defensive at the last minute and really fighting it out. Tristan Vincent out in an American Eagle Clutch Night Crew Racing livery that our producer just pointed out. Great delivery he's got over there, and he's got Patty just behind in the Aston Martin, who's pushing on in 21st currently. That's Samuel Patty. And as they head out of the final corner, heading up towards the long uphill straight towards the checkered line, will the Aston Martin have enough slip and possibly enough engine power yet to try and challenge the BMW? It looks like he is slowly but surely approaching, but I don't know if it's going to be enough as we head down into the center S's. That gap is starting to minimize as we head underneath the grandstand roofs. We're going to pop out of it, and unfortunately the Aston Martin just not enough under the hood and not enough slipstream to try and get past that BMW, and will have to sit in the wake. He's also got Herschel behind he's got to watch out for, because he's also chasing in for that battle for 20th in the big Mustang from Superlap. Omet Ohm gets herself a yellow flag there for slowdown. We were just talking about it, and she moves down 6. Declan Design gets up 5th, and he's made his way straight up into the top 5 spots. Omet Ohm's now going to lose out to Parks Miller, so 1 yellow flag penalty from exceeding track limits, and she's out. She's blinking a bit, but it does not look like she's blinking back. What's gone on with Omet Ohm at this race?
What a shame for Omet Ohm, because she was racing really well. She had the off-track and slowdown, but love to know how Declan Design gained them 2 places. Was a really interesting bit to watch there. And is that out of this rate? The blinking hasn't come back, and she would have by now. So that looks like Omet Ohm is out of this race due to a bit of a blinking issue there for her. What a shame in this championship run, but that puts Parks Miller up into 6th, and has got a chase now after that of Declan Design, who's on a good bit of momentum at the moment. But this man, Evan Davis, out front, charging away 5 seconds in the lead, while Saber's coming under pressure by Troy Anderson and Jimmy Carroll for that second place. There is Andre Saber, there is Troy Anderson, there is Jimmy Carroll, all hunting down that final podium and extra points in this championship. As we enter that halfway stage, you start to almost put one eye onto them championship standings at this stage of the season, just as we approach that half distance, and the drivers will just be fully focused on what they've got to do tonight before they take a look at the tables and work out out points here, there and everywhere. But Jimmy Carroll, fourth out of this train at the moment for third and second place as they come up towards turn number 8 once again. Jimmy Carroll just nicely over the curb, waiting almost to let these two kind of fight a little bit at the moment, isn't he? Jimmy Carroll wants these two to almost duke it out and have a bit of a battle to maybe he pick up the pieces.
Yeah, definitely sitting behind like he's waiting for something to happen up in front, and it definitely is a possibility there with Anderson and Saba. These two are very aggressive drivers who have been pushing it throughout this season, and Saba getting himself up into the top spots of this championship. But now he really needs to work hard if he wants to try and keep it, because Davis is trying to overthrow it all the way up in front, and so is Anderson and Carroll, who are right behind that yellow Mustang trying to push on. But Saba has been neatly consistent in this race, and let's hope that he can continue it for the time being. I was seeing quite a lot of fighting going on for the battle for 20th, but it looks like things have changed up now, and for some reason definitely a bit of gapping that we've seen there. We do see Minoto again in 18th. He's pushing on behind Odom. This is again with the likes of Samuel Patty, with Tristan Vincent now on the back end side and still pushing on, and just got past Vincent. But now we could possibly see a bit of an attack coming back from the American Eagle driver, the number 13 BMW, on the back straight. They are both on the pit entry line, trying to minimize the amount of total track that they've actually got to drive onto, and going all the way on the outside there. That's unfortunately not much track that he can go there for Tristan Vincent. He's going to have to pull back on to the asphalt and tuck in behind the Aston Martin. There's nowhere for you to go there, and unfortunately good defense coming from Samuel Patty leads Vincent to join the train yet again. Nothing he can do in that situation. Peyton Mays just there in the background. Back up though to one of the more important battles up in front. It is still Saba to Anderson, and these two are going to be fighting it out for the remaining 7 minutes here. Not long to go for heat number 1. As it currently stands, we will be seeing Colin Flynn getting the flip to start in first position in the Corvette. But like we say, anything can happen in these last 7 minutes. So let's see who can possibly get the best rotation here in this last span of the sprint race.
Yeah, and this is going to be absolutely crucial in this sprint race to see who can do what. And this is where you almost want to play that strategy game. Troy Anderson, is he happy and content with the podium? No race driver ever is. But if he stays P3, it will give him a better grid position for that second race coming up a little later on. Did almost make contact with Saba coming through Jung Sao, but managed to not hit the rear of the Ford Mustang, dipping down into the Senna S's once again. Saba, Anderson, Carroll, Mustang, Corvette, Mustang, as they come through. The American power showing what it's capable of here in Brazil today, as Troy Anderson really trying to get in that slipstream with that of Saba there, who goes on the defensive early doors, coming down to 8th place. This is Colin Flynn looking to try and get past Altoriso. This will change the pole position as well. Altoriso might get put on pole position if he finishes in 8th place. It's currently going the way of Altoriso, but Colin Flynn wants that 8th place to take that pole position. Going to try and look to squeeze up the inside on Altoriso. Was there a little bit of contact between the two that pushes Altoriso wide? Flynn doesn't capitalise on that and Altoriso manages to stay ahead in P8 at the moment.
Yeah, that's a big move there for Altoriso, as we just mentioned the possible strategy coming in for the feature race. And if Flynn cannot get past here, he's going to be starting in 9th position compared to starting in 1st. He has a bit of a fight going on though. This is the battle for 15th, which this is the one I was looking for earlier, that I thought was the battle for 20th. So it's a battle for 15th currently, with Odom leading to Minoto, Lewis and Herschel, as they're all busy bouncing back at the moment. Minoto does get ahead of Lewis. That's the bubblegum Mercedes, who's now got pressure from Herschel behind, and this is going to be a 4-way fight up until the end. 5 minutes left of feature 1, and the bubblegum Mercedes makes contact on the backside there of Herschel. Unfortunately there for Shelton Lewis for the Grip Sim Racing team, and does lose out a little bit. He's now got pressure from Samuel Patty, and Tristan Vincent join in on this battle. So from what turned from a battle for 15th is now a battle for 17th position, with Lewis, Patty, Vincent and May all in a bit of a train together. Patty has blipped a little bit, but fortunately this time he is back and has not suffered the same consequence as Omet Ohm dropping off in this race. Troy Anderson is still sitting behind Saba and cannot get past. I believe that is Peyton May behind him. No, sorry, it's Jimmy Carroll. Apologies, same livery from those two cars. And Jimmy Carroll still pushing on. Oh, there's Leonard Batson. He's off the track for the Team Next Racing. That's coming out of turn number 5, unfortunately, but a little of a limp in the background there. Let's hope he can recover in these last 4 minutes. That's all we've got left to go. 4 minutes of the sprint race. Is Troy Anderson going to be able to keep third here? Or like Matthew says, will he try and use the strategy card and remain in third to get a better rotation in the top 8 split?
Yeah, this is going to be the interesting thing, isn't it? And this is what we love about the Format B. And I tell you what, this Format B sprint race has been as chaotic, almost, not quite, as last week's Motorsports AM race, hasn't it? And this Format B brings that frantic racing where drivers are all at each other in this race. Colin Flynn still trying to get on Alteriso for that pole position in the next race. We've seen drivers take pole position in the previous seasons in Format B and go on to get wins or podiums. So it's crucial for that P8 spot because you don't know what the opportunity could bring to you towards the end of the night. But he's dropped off the back of Alteriso just a little bit, almost falling into the path of LaRusso and Havdal now. So has Alteriso managed to get that one covered? And Morrow still attacking the rear of Parks Miller, blinking a little bit all over the place as well. So I'll just be putting Parks Miller off because he's not going to know properly where to defend from Amaro at the moment in this race.
Yeah, a bit of a difficult one that he's got to work with, with Amaro being pushed up on the rear end side. With the current flip, Parks Miller will be starting in third position in that top 8 reverse. And so let's have a look to see if Parks Miller and the likes of Amaro will have a bit of a fight out on circuit, with Alteriso just a bit further behind, still holding that final cutoff for the top 8 reverse. So he should be starting up in pole because Flynn is unfortunately a second off here and does not look like he's going to be able to contest with Alteriso up in third. Parks Miller 2.7 seconds behind Dean. He also looks like he's fixated on 6th unless he loses out to Amaro in 7th. It wouldn't be the worst thing though if he does lose out, because it means that he'll start in 2nd for the feature race instead of 3rd, which could be a good push for him as he goes off circuit there. That's going to be a 2 times incident point added to his total limit here, so he does have to watch out for that one as Amaro continues to place the pressure from behind in the big black and red Mustang on the black and red Ferrari. It's the battle for the different vehicle. Yeah, it's the same branding on those cars in terms of color, so we'll have to see who comes out on top. Jimmy Carroll and Troy Anderson still in the wake there for 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Obviously, first up 6 seconds to Andre Saber, so no competition there. But Saber has done an absolutely great job at keeping the 2 behind and actually forcing them into battle. And Saber, the likes of Jimmy Carroll, makes contact with Troy Anderson into the Senna S's, and Troy Anderson for the Wild Ride Motorsports team has gone around into the Senna S's, and he's going to lose all the traction he's just made on Jimmy Carroll. Drops down to 4th and now under pressure from Dean Areen with just a minute or so left of this race.
Yeah, unfortunate there for that of Troy Anderson. Jimmy Carroll just a little late on the brakes, clips the rear of Troy Anderson in that one. But this man, Davis, has been absolutely brilliant in this one. Will we get one more lap in this one? Possibly so. We'll wait and see. Just under a minute left to go now. I believe we will, because he's coming up in towards the final parts of the middle sector. Minotto and Odom going at it, as well as Herschel in this fight as well. Minotto trying to go around the outside of Odom around turn 5, up the hill towards turn 6. The Ford Mustang has nowhere to go in this one at the moment, just waiting in the wings to try and follow the BMW. It looks like up the inside. Minotto and Odom still together in this race. Brilliant bit of racing between all 3 of them. And now Herschel looks to dive up the inside of the Porsche. Odom will have that inside line back coming through the left-hand bend, and that has put Herschel back on the rear, the back foot. But Minotto moves up into P15 with a lovely bit of racing with the Porsche there. There was a little bit of tyre smoke, I think, just on the edge of that corner. I didn't see anybody drop down, so it must have been a back marker. But final lap of this race, and Evan Davis has been absolutely dominant in the first one.
Yeah, incredible stuff to take the win by storm here. If he continues it, he is on the final lap now. White flag has been waved for Evan Davis with Andre Saber and Jimmy Carroll behind, and 6 seconds of a gap. He's got a lot of leeway here to have a bit of a relax, and unfortunately just towards the end of it, Troy Anderson does get that tap from Jimmy Carroll. So the stewards will have to have a look at that one after the proceedings of tonight to see what on earth went wrong there, as I believe we'll have to just wait for their judgment. I don't think we had a clear angle of attack there from Jimmy Carroll and Troy Anderson, and so Troy Anderson down 4th position now. He's got to work for it with about a second or so away from Dean Areen. So here's the attack from behind. Troy Anderson holding the outside line, Jimmy Carroll approaching steadily but surely, and very, very late on the brakes. They're coming from Jimmy Carroll, and makes hard contact on the back left. So unfortunately, Jimmy Carroll just way too late on the brakes there, and into the backside of Troy Anderson. Nowhere that both the cars could have gone to try and avoid that one, but fortunately could have gone. It could have been a lot worse there for Troy Anderson. Definitely could have been a bit of a race ender there, or possibly lost out even more positions. Only 1 position lost there, and so he will remain in this current position in that top split. But it's officially checkered flag because Davison is huge contact. Yeah.
Minoto, black flag. Davis is going to win this race. Not sure what's happened to Minoto at the end, but it was around. Then got collected. Got the black flag. That must be for incident points. Tumbles down into 23rd place. Might even lose out there. That's a back marker. So, in fact, no, it wasn't. It was Coolidge has lost 40-odd seconds. Will lose 40 seconds due to that black flag that he can't serve the drive-through penalty at the end of the race. But Davis wins from Sauber, Carroll, Anderson, Dienarine, Parks, Miller, Amaro, Alteriso. We'll bring you the full classification in just a moment. And here comes Minoto, still losing places to Coolidge in this race. And I believe he's got Lewis Holloway all over the back of him as well, but will lose a lot more time due to that black flag penalty. We'll see if we can grab you a replay of the incident at the end. But my oh my, what a brilliant start to the night, and what a fantastic opening race for the AMs.
Yeah, incredible start to the AM class there. A bit of an awkward time to have a bit of an incident there, as we just were waiting for Evan Davis to come across the checkered flag line. So here's Minoto. He's currently holding on the outside line with one of the Super Lab cars, and I believe Kamari Odom just behind. So into the second sector there, the second mountain climb, and there's the contact with Kamari Odom. And then just following on, more drivers made contact with the front nose there of Minoto, and nothing he could really do. He did what he had to do. He sat still on the circuit, and that is the best thing you can do. Leave the judgment up to the other drivers. And unfortunately, with that long train of cars following each other, the one Mustang just pops out to the right, and not enough time to try and react to the BMW that sits sideways. But that's officially it. I mean, what a great first heat we've had here for the AMs. We've still got one more heat coming up for you for the AM races before we head to the pros. But in terms of classifications and ending it, it is Evan Davis up on top with a 6-second gap. Andre Sauber second, Jimmy Carroll third, Troy Anderson fourth, Declan Dienarine fifth with Caden Parks Miller down at sixth, Dominic Amaro seventh, and Alex Altericio will be starting this race up on pole in 8th position. It is Colin Flynn down 9th with Nicholas Larasso down 10th, Costin Habdal in 11th, Casey Berry in 12th, so 13th for Archie Woods, 14th Alan Ware, and 15th for Andrew Herschel. The rest you can have a read through on your screen from 16th downwards for the remainder of our drivers. But man, Matthew, we really had a good start to Interlagos here, and the AMs have taken it by storm. Can they replicate this good performance though in the feature?
Yeah, this is going to be the interesting thing to keep our eyes on now, isn't it? Can they replicate it in the feature? The feature is only 5 minutes longer, so you're still going to be in for that frantic craze where drivers are going to be battling for positions. And for Davis, well, he starts now behind that of Parks Miller, so he's going to want to try and get past him to try and capitalise on as many points as he possibly can in that next race. Remember, the top 8 are inverted, so they will switch around, putting Alteriso on that pole position, as you said. But what an end to the sprint race. Davis in absolute dominant form. Troy Anderson may feel a little bit hard done by being tapped around there, but he'll get that better grid position by 1 spot, so it's not all doom and gloom for him. He gets to go again in this second race, and yeah, I think we're going to be in for an even better one this second race, because the reverse grid it is fantastic to see, because that reverse grid just provides a little bit of something different. Our producer's just received a message from Amet saying that the internet's gone down and is under some service for the whole town. So it's not just hers that has been affected, it is everybody around her local area that has been affected as well. So what a shame for Amet. It's a shame for them to get that service, trying to update it or fix it or whatever the problem was going forward in this one. But Tristan, really looking forward to race number 2.
Yeah, definitely so. That's super unfortunate, though, for Amet. You know, when you get taken out of a race due to external factors that you cannot control. I think all of us have been there once or twice in a league race, and especially in such an amazing league race here, like the League by Foxxtecca, having to drop out due to something that you can't control is rather a bit of an irritation there. So Amet, hopefully, I don't think she's going to be coming back here for the feature, as I'm not seeing her out on grid for the warm-up, and so looks like she'll be out for the feature as well, as we currently head into a bit of a warm-up, which is about to get over and done with, and then we head to our 30-minute feature race, which is going to be of utmost importance here for that second 50-point margin that we spoke about. So it's 100 points total for every single night, and obviously with Format A, that 100 points is in the total hour. In this race, it is split among our 2 features, just 5 minutes of length in difference between the 2 of them. And so that's going to be of utmost importance for our drivers here to try and score as much as they can in the second wave of 50 points here, as warm-up has officially come to an end, and we get to grid these cars to have a look at who is going to be lining it up. It's going to look very similar to what it did in terms of the finishing spots of the sprint race, but obviously that top 8 is going to be slightly flipped around, with most of our drivers already taking to the grid. Just waiting for Fox Miller up in front. There's your starting procedure, though. It is Alex Altericio who starts up in front with the Race 4 G Sports team. Dominic Amaro in second, with Caden Fox Miller now starting in third. Declan Design will get that midpoint in fourth, and he just overtook Troy Anderson there, who will now start fifth position. Apologies, no, Troy Anderson seems to have gone third. He flips to fifth, and then Jimmy Carroll currently sits in sixth. Andre Saba seventh, and then Evan Davis down in eighth position after the top 8 flip. Colin Flynn ninth, with Nicholas Russo in 10th. Costin Havdal 11th, and then Casey Berry starts 12th.
Indeed they do, down in 13th place. We go then, as we just get it up on the screen now. Archie Woods 13th from Alan Ware. Andrew Herschel is 15th from Kamari Odin. We've then got that of 17th place Shelton Lewis from Samuel Patty, Tristan Vincent from Dan Gorbatenko, Caden Coolidge from Lewis Holloway, Ken Majuri and Peyton May rounding out the 24.
Yeah, 25, and it's going to look similar. Uven Sandirigama with Bartosz Paczynski, with Julian Race. It's Drew Metcalf 28th, John Smallwood 29th. Paul Collishaw for the Tuma Racing does get up to 30th from 43rd. Bowie Soon in 31st position. Tannen Ebo in 32nd, with Minusueshi Minoto down 33rd. Jeremy Alvarado in 34th. Alexis Barrett in 35th position. Anton Schoppler will round off your top 36.
Indeed, they will. 37th for Landon Batson, 38th for Andy Olivo, Rain Woodside 39th, Oliver Sigurdsson 40th, Omet On, we don't think we'll see him 41st, Adan Santiago Lopez 42nd, and Owen Borgwin 43rd. Yeah, so big stack grid still for the second feature race. It's all still the same as we go through the Format B racing. Obviously 30 minutes on the clock, though, for those top 8 who will be taking to the starting barracks here, just behind the pace car, who will be seeing pull in ever so shortly. Altericio's got pressure, though, Dominic Amaro and Caden Parks Miller just behind, who's going to be chasing them down into the center S's. Deanna Reen also, who took the win last week at Motorsports, is looking for some redemption here after the feature race. Managed to score himself a neat 4th position, but now wants to try and work even further up for it, as we do now see the safety car is probably going to be pulling in into the next couple of seconds. There we see the dive in, and now it's all up to Alex Altericio and Dominic Amaro, who control this grid. The pull-off is already there. The green flag gantries are out, and Alex Altericio gets a great pull down into the center as they will go. Dean Arena already looking up on the inside there of Fox Miller, almost trying to make an overtake on the inside, but decides to pull out in order for safety, and that looks like Shelton Lewis has gone sideways, and he's blocking the entire inside of the circuit here for the center S's. Tries to get off circuit, but makes contact with another 2 vehicles. Not the cleanest of starts that we would have hoped for compared to what we saw in the sprint race, but in terms of Alex Altericio, he gets a great pull-off. 1 second that he gets to work with now. The rest of the drivers all cascading through turns 2, 3, and 4, and quite a good amount of racing coming on. There's another driver who's gone around there, and it's the Mustang, I believe, of Andrew Herschel. No, it's not. It's multiple cars gone off there, coming out of turn number 4. What on earth has just happened? And loads of our drivers fall off the timing tower. Yeah, everybody's falling by the wayside at the moment, as this is the Corvette of Andrew Herschel and Colin Flynn going side by side in towards turn number 8. Then the Corvette looking toward the inside line to become the outside, but he gets the move done on the traction out the corner. Altericio, Parks Miller, Amaro, Davis, who's already up into 4th place from 8th on the opening lap of this race. This is then on board with Saba, coming under pressure now from that of Hafdal just further back behind him, and the queue of cars continues on once again in this race. It's been absolutely crazy, as that is Altericio, who's just made a little bit of a mistake out of that of Jun Sao, just running onto the grass. That'll allow Caden Parks Miller to have a bit of a better run up through the start-finish line. They all go. You need a good Jun Sao exit, as look at the chaos in this traffic behind. This is Metcalf in the Mercedes-Benz, that red and blue Mercedes-Benz, going side by side with the McLaren of Sandy Rigami. You've got also Ken Majori in there, and that of Bishinski in the BMW. 3 wide they go. Metcalf looking to come through the middle of the pair of them, down in towards the center S's, and thank you mama for the carriage through Metcalf. 2 places in 1 corner.
Yeah, loads of action coming down to the center S's and almost 4 wide actually, and just behind, obviously the likes of Samuel Patty joining in, and now also Julian Alvarado. He's just in the background there, and Jeremy Alvarado, apologies, and then Berry also behind. Davis is up into 3rd position already off the start of this race, from 8th up into 3rd, and he is hungry for yet another victory as he fights it out with Amara. He's going to lose back down to 4th, as Amara is not going to make it that easy for him, but already up from 8th up into 4th position here from the starting chaos of this race. He's taken a bit of a leeway gap here and really taken a jump and saw the opportunity to move up, and that's a good move there from Davis. And now he's going to try and make it stick with Amaro, just pinging back and forth, and that must be an absolute disaster to fight against, a car that just continuously disappears. Very difficult there for Evan Davis to try and get past, and Anderson is going to try and latch onto the back of these two, hopefully to get a bit of a run off from the 2 Mustangs up in front. Davis is going to take the outside line, not the best run for the straight, and that's going to give Anderson the best possible opportunity to strike on the rear side, but it looks like Davis is still going to get the slipstream on the backside here of Amaro. These 3 could also turn it into a 3-wide battle here as Amaro disappears yet again. This is getting very dangerous for these drivers as they reappears on the inside line, and it looks like Davis taking it on the outside line. Now, will it be enough? No, it's not, as Amaro is going to hold the inside. Troy Anderson getting right on the rear there of the purple and white Mustang, and the 2 up in front still fighting it out, but you can see Davis is getting a little bit upset there with Amaro's blipping, as we saw the flashing coming into the center S's. There he's blipping even more. It's just unacceptable at this point at such a high standard. That blipping really does throw a driver off.
How do you race that, Tristan? How do you race that? Davis is fighting for a championship here. Amaro blipping all over the place. He's getting frustrated because he can see Parks Miller. Yes, he outscored him in race 1, but he wants to try and capitalise on as many points as possible over his championship rivals. And while you've got a blipping car of Amaro there, it's just impossible to race against as they come in towards turn number 8. This is then that of May and Vincent going side by side. May getting the move done in the Ford Mustang. Just looking at the biggest movers, Peyton May, 12 places, Tanner Kneebone, 12 places, Minuto, 12 places, Alvarado, 12 places as well. So a lot of drivers gaining 12 places, but it's Owen Borgwin up 14 spots. He is the biggest gainer in this race. We haven't had 3 of the drivers take to the start, as Davis now moves up into P3 ahead of Amaro. So Davis gets through finally into that 3rd place. Anderson now tries to get past Amaro out of Jung Sao up towards the timing tower. There you go. And Troy Anderson has indeed got past that of Amaro, but can he hold on to it? Because Amaro, with all the blipping, is trying to fight back as best he can here.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. I think it is just for the best for these two to get ahead of Amaro. That blipping is just, it's not worth the fight for the top 3, especially if you're taking it through these highly technical sections of Interlagos. Not knowing where the position of that red Mercedes, that red Mustang is incredibly important, and it can cause a couple of incidents, as we see. That's LaRusso who's gone off. It's made contact with Vincent, I believe, in the background. I thought that was the likes of Declan Yenarine, but it's not. It's the other driver, a part of the Dio Racing squad, and it's Nicholas LaRusso who's made contact somewhere, and he's stuck at the exit of the pit line. He's going to reverse into the track, and my goodness, what a good defense. But unfortunately, it's caused huge chaos with a bunch of drivers having to go evasive, and they've all made contact after. Shelton Lewis, Lewis Holloway, they've all made contact with each other. 2 Mercedes are absolutely wrecked on the back straight here after turn number 3. And my goodness, what one incident can do. Dianarine's got a meatball flag as well. He was involved in the chaos as well. What on earth has just transpired? There we see Dianarine trying to limp the Mustang back to the garage, and in a matter of seconds, 6 cars are completely wrecked for race number 2.
I don't care who you are. I don't care what series you're racing. Just stay stationary. Just stay stationary. It is not difficult to do. You're at it's probably one of the narrower parts of the circuit coming out of turn 3 down the Retro Aposta. You go while cars are going 2 or 3 wide and reversing and driving forward like that. Just remain stationary until it is clear to do so. Dianarine as well, teammates of him, even though there's no team in the championship, he is his teammate in terms of stable teammates, is out of the race due to being caught up in the wreck. It is one of my biggest bugbears when drivers just do not remain stationary. But enough about that. Here comes Saber attacking the back of Troy Anderson. You kind of knew something like that tonight, Tristan, was going to happen. You knew it kind of was with how chaotic it has been already.
Yeah, no, that really has changed the events in the backside of the circuit, and like you say, it's not the hardest thing to just keep the car still. And I know it's a bit of an invisible one with the pit wall, the pit exit wall being in the way, so very difficult there for Lorasso in the situation that he was in. But unfortunately, his only option there was to just stay still and let the entire grid pass him. And now this has obviously transpired into a multi-event crash with a couple of the drivers having to tow back and completely losing out on any kind of point scoring. And Dan Areen was well up on the packs here in this race, and unfortunately due to that he's down. And with obviously 23 minutes left to go, it's not going to be enough time for him to try and catch back up to the top 10 here. So that dream is out of the window here, as we now see Amaro blipping even further. He drops well off the pack and then jumps straight back up. So I think someone's going to have a chat to him as well before next race just about that, because it's also becoming a little bit unacceptable out on the circuit for all our drivers. Rain Woodside loses it out of turn number 4, heading up towards 6 and 7. And unfortunate for him, that's going to be a hard contact on the front of that McLaren. He's going to have to limp that one back, and it looks like he is going to tow it. Yes, he is. And so back into the pit lane he goes. I don't know if that was 100% tow worthy. I think he could have made it home, but maybe just decided to get the car off the circuit, not be a risk to anyone else, like we've already seen. And let's hope that we can witness some good racing up in the front. Altarizio to Box Miller to Davis for your top 3.
Jim, I don't know if you caught that, but Tristan just made a 6-7 joke. That's twice in 2 weeks now for Tristan. I don't know if that was caught. As here comes the Aston Martin of Patier of Bashinsky up the inside. Bashinsky trying to come back at him around the outside of turn number 5 as they approach up the hill, up into turn 6. They go still side by side. I tell you what, we have seen tonight, though, Tristan. We've seen some fantastic side by side racing, and this is part of it. As the McLaren there of Sandy Rigama tries to make it 3 wide, makes contact with Bashinsky. And again, just a sloppy move that was never going to work. Now Tanner Ebone attacking the back of the Mercedes-Benz, and as Tanner Ebone just tapped the Mercedes, lets him get back going. Jimmy Carroll's involved in all of this as well. And there is just cars absolutely strewn around everywhere on this Interlagos circuit. Down is towards Jungsau. Tanner Nebo now gets ahead of the Mercedes. No, he doesn't, because the Mercedes of Metcalf comes back at Nebo. Does Nebo get the better exit? I think he may have done for now, but Metcalf is going to fight this one back. These two are going at it in race 1, and Nebo once again gets the move on Metcalf done. But there is some sloppy errors out there from drivers in this second race that we didn't necessarily see in that first one. And Drew Metcalf might fancy a move back up the inside of Nebo into the centre S's. Breaks a little later, ducks down towards the apex of the corner, and Tanner covers that one off absolutely beautifully there from the Simplay Racing driver over the Grip Racing driver in 19th place. And the queue of cars is phenomenal at the moment.
Yeah, long train currently fighting it out all the way from 18th down to 26, if you have to think about it. And that is a massive train for your mid-pack fights here. Now we see the likes of Metcalf under pressure from Minoto, who had a bit of an eventful race in the sprint and now hoping to make a bit of a comeback in the feature, currently down in 20th. Kamari Odom's also in the background there in 21st with Berry down in 23rd. Paul Collishaw's in the train, Sigfusson and Baldwin also all joining in. And so this is a long heap of event line work that's going to have to come here, because Minoto's dived on the outside line and he's made it work almost, because now it's completely compromised Metcalf into the next rotating corner. And what a great move there from Minoto. Complete deception coming in for the Mercedes-Benz, and he's made the position stick for the Clutches Night Crew and can move on now further up to Tanner Nebo, who currently leads this battle for 18th position. Jimmy Carroll managed to escape it immediately, and he's already gotten up ahead of Paczynski for the battle for 16th position. There is so much going on in the background. It's now side by side for up at the top, Peyton May with the likes of Andrew Herschel as they now try fight it out into the center S's. It's Mustang versus Mustang, and then another Mustang up in front of Amaro as they all try and go neck and neck with each other. And Peyton May has made a bit of netcode contact there that wasn't direct from them, but fortunately Herschel able to catch it and no kind of consequence between the two there.
Great save, absolutely fantastic save, but comes under pressure now from where down in towards the Retro Aposta. They go once, into out of the Retro Aposta they go through turns 4 and 5. We're looking right around the outside. If he can hold it there, we'll have that inside into 6 and turn number 7. as they approach into 8, and this is where the track just widens up a little bit into that entry of turn 8, but Ware has already got the move done on Herschel. Will he think about coming back? No, he does not, so stays where he is at this moment in time. And, oh, there we go. Wyszynski now looking at a fight between Sandy Regama and that of Jimmy Carroll, as Wyszynski nearly made contact with the rear of Sandy Regama's McLaren there, managed not to. That is Minotto, who's got himself ahead of Nebo now on the back of this train, and Nebo's come with him. And look at this, 2 by 2 filtering into the middle sector. It's almost like they're trying to approach Noah's Ark, but they're trying to get through the final part of this Interlagos lap. And Berry in that Ford Mustang trying to fend off Collishaw. That was the BMW, was it? No, it's the blue. Yeah, it was the BMW with Sigurdsson, who's a little wide, still fends off that of the Porsche of Paul Collishaw. What an absolute frantic race this is. This is absolutely crazy. Collishaw almost kissing the rear of the BMW just in front, trying to get a move done on that inside of the BMW, of this of Sigurdsson. Side by side they go further forward. There's Metcalf, Berry and Kamari Odom all going at it as well for this couple of positions. There's even movers further forward. Through goes Berry, through goes Odom, trying to look around the outside. Still Metcalf hanging on in there for dear life at the moment. And what an absolutely great race this is as we approach the halfway stage of it.
Yeah, incredible stuff coming in between those back, the drivers a little bit further back in the battle for 20th position. And they really are racing clean, which is what we love to see here. I mean, Matthew wanted to point me out just now on a 6-7 joke. I want to point Matthew out on an Alan Ware joke because he said he's got to be aware of his surroundings. That's Alan Ware having to be aware. So, Matthew, there's another punch back for you, and we'll continue making it throughout the race as Ken Majori now fights it out currently with Jimmy Carroll in the fight of there. Alan Ware, like we just spoke about, he's on the backside of Herschel with Vincent just behind in the BMW. These three have been scrapping it out for the past couple of laps, and let's try and watch and see. For the once, though, you know, we usually have a couple of shows here or there with a lower amount of drivers where you're struggling to find battles out in the field. There is so much going out on circuit at the time being that we are struggling to keep up, as Sandiri Gama is going to make an inside dive, 2 positions in one corner. Kneebone goes completely wide here, and looks like Sandiri Gama is going to have the advantage. Who's going to have the run, though? Heading onto the back straight. Yeah, Paul Collishaw's been made contact off the circuit. He's been completely knocked in the background, and he's going to have to try and work back for that one. But there's so much going on because Minotto and Berry in the background. Yeah, this could potentially go 4 wide between these drivers as they head up towards the center S's here in the background. It's another 4 wide situation between the top 22 here. This is incredible racing coming from all these drivers, but can they keep it all clean? And looks like Kneebone's going to go wide here in that battle between Berry just up in front and in the background. It looks like Metcalf is going to hold it there from Kamari Odom. There is so much going on, but the AM drivers keep it clean through the center S's, and one incredible amount of racing we just saw between 2 packs at Interlagos, and this is why we have it on the grid we have it on this season for season number 3. This is why GT3s come. Incredible racing.
It is indeed. Berry gets back out of Tanner Kneebone at the moment. Davis and Parks Miller going at it for for second place, but who cares about second place when there's about 20 cars for 18th? Nobody really gives a damn about this one at the moment, as Davis on that outside of Parks Miller at the moment. Parks Miller trying to fend off from the championship leader. Davis proving, is he championship material in this AM category? This is his biggest test at the moment, but what a race we're seeing. All for 17th place down the order. This is currently for second, and they're going side by side. Davis now dives to the inside, later on the brakes, through he goes in the center S's, parks it on the apex. An absolute peach from Evan Davis there. That is a textbook move, and Parks Miller could do nothing, I mean nothing about that one. But you don't, Jim was saying in our ear just a moment ago, you can't hear our producer. He doesn't know where to look. We don't know where to look. We've not even had a replay. It's been that crazy at the moment. As Parks Miller trying to get the up and under through turn 4, can't do so on Evan Davis at the moment. Now can Davis, with just under half this race to go, get this battle for the lead on Altoriso and maybe take back-to-back race wins. Look at the orange on the timing tower. That is how close this field is at the moment. This is Herschel on May with Ware, Vincent, Havdal, all in a queue. There are queues everywhere around this circuit at the moment. It is great racing to see, and this is why Everybody loves Interlagos because it brings you the drama, the action, the quality that we're seeing out on circuit tonight. Schoppler getting himself ahead of Metcalf, who again looks like he's got a bit of front-end damage on that Mercedes-Benz. Metcalf not done with this yet, though. And he's now, as here comes Coolidge. He also fancies a little look on Metcalf. Dive to the inside. Not from Coolidge. Bit of contact, though, as Metcalf has got a black flag. Schoppler gets a black flag. And Coolidge also black flag.
Yeah, there are loads of penalties in the background that we're struggling to keep up with here. That's 3 just in the last span of the moments there. And I've got to tell you, some devious thoughts coming from Sam and Chris picking a Format B at Interlagos. They knew what they were doing. And it's presented what we're seeing here today live on action. We still got one more entire division coming up for you, and we hope that it's going to present the same amount of action. Peyton May on the inside here of Andrew Herschel as they're going to go back into the center races here at Interlagos. And almost 3 wide in the background there with Alan as he joins in on this battle, and another great battle. Now this is for 8th, a little bit of a higher contention spot on the grid, and with 12 minutes left to go, I'm not even keeping track of time anymore because there's just so much interaction out on circuit. You can see your track map in the top right. It is just gray little marbles out on circuit, all in a little duck's row with each other, and that's this long battle that we're seeing. The battle for 8th is now 5 cars wide that we're seeing coming up into Ferradura. There is just so much going on between all of our drivers here. The battle for 18th is still leading on to something even further. It's now actually the battle for 17th with Berry leading it to Minoto and Nebo. Sigfusson gets ahead of Sanderi Gama. There's even more action here as Vincent and Ware lose out to Peyton May as they all continue through the mid sectors here. And now Ware gets back up ahead of Vincent. Just in the background there, you can see the BMW driver now. Vincent fighting back on Alan Ware into the next corner. There is just so much bounce back coming from all of our drivers. Vincent from the Clutch Night crew gets just up ahead. And unfortunately for Havdal, he's been pushed to the back of this battle and he's got to try and earn his way up for it. And there's the earning that we just talked about. And Havdal makes the dive on the inside of Alan Ware, and it looks like he's going to get the run as well on the back straight. Incredible racing there, coming from 11th and 12th position, and now Alan Ware for the Foxxtecca team has got to work up his way. 5 spots that he's got to try and climb here to get towards the end here that he's lost out with Havdal on the inside. 2 wide coming up towards the center S's here. Havdal's going to have the inside. It is bumper to bumper. The slightly Foster Mustang is going to hold the outside line here. Between the two of them, can they avoid contact? Alan Ware is going to have the flip back of the inside line, and he claims the racing line from Havdal. It's now 2 wide yet again, heading onto the second straight. And my goodness, these two will not let up for the battle for 12th position currently. Havdal versus Ware, and yet again heading into turn number 4. They will go side by side, and it looks like Havdal finally will have the inside run, but Ware is not letting go. This is incredible racing, and an entire lap racing with each other goes by, and they are still side by side.
Tristan, I don't know about you, but this mid-break session, the mid-break podcast cannot come quick enough because we need to catch our breath as May picks himself up a black flag just ahead of this battle. May in 9th place gets that black flag for possibly track limits then in this race. The number 5 will take a drive-through penalty in this one. Battles all over the place. I'm seeing in the virtual grandstand that this race needs to be a Format A, because imagine this over an hour. I think it's been brilliant in Format B as Sigurdsson looking to make the move on Tanner Nebo now. Tanner being solid and firm in his defence as he comes through that of the middle sector, using all of the road he can. As Davis takes the lead in this race, we'll go and check that one out in just a moment, because here is the leaders, Davis and Alteriso side by side. Has Davis got through? Yes, he has. Miller trying to squeeze on the inside of Alteriso and has done just enough, and now takes second place. So Alteriso loses the lead, and now Miller will look to try and pound on his championship rival. The other comment I've seen is where is it? I can't remember where the other comment is, but they need to keep this track on for next season. I couldn't agree even more. This track is phenomenal. Alteriso coming back on Miller can't do so there as they come up to lap one of the back markers side by side between Havdal and that of Ware now as they come through turn number 4 and 5, and Havdal looking to get that inside line. Sadly, it's going to become the outside for the next 3 sets of corners. Oh my days, we need to catch our breath during this podcast because we've still got 2 more races to come later on. Don't go anywhere in the virtual grandstand. There is still the pros to come with 2 races, same format left in the day, and my days, is this going to be an entertaining night. Race of the season, track of the season, races of the season tonight.
100%. I think everybody in the virtual grandstand is going to agree with that. I don't even think anything, maybe St. Petersburg being a new track on the board can provide a little bit of action, but Interlagos being that iconic legendary circuit has just once again provided its unique touch. Borgwin gets himself a black flag penalty down in 24th position, and that's unfortunate that he's going to have to try it. This is the lead change replay that we unfortunately missed with all the action in the background that we were also having a watch on. Evan Davis looks up on the inside here of the likes of Altoricio, and this is heading up into the center races. Turn number 1, Altoricio has got to give him the space because he's side by side, and then heading down into turn number 1 and turn number 2, you can see Fox Miller just in the background. That's a huge downpart there for the likes of Altoricio, and he just didn't get the exit he needed out of turn number 2, and that allowed for Fox Miller to claim him as well into second place. But what a great move. Evan Davis is looking to claim a 50-50 here for the Format B for the AM Championships, and looking back at it yet again, yes, Dominic Amaro, the man who's unfortunately suffered a bit more blips than he's normally used to at this time of this race, and Colin Flynn just on the back of him, and he's made contact on the back there. The Corvette just making a bit of a bump on the backside of the Mustang as they continue. But like Matthew mentioned, do not go anywhere, because we've still got an entire another division coming up for you. Unfortunately, we will have to jump quite quickly once the AM race is done with, because we'll have to still transition over to the pro server and make sure that everything is fully set up for your watching experience for the pro race. So we'll be very quick in our ending of the SAM, but my goodness, they've provided us the action yet tonight, and still 7 minutes left to go, and there is still battles to still foresee out on circuit. Here's Berry, who's been mentioned multiple times as well in the virtual grandstand for having such a phenomenal drive yet tonight. Mitsubishi Minoto just gets up ahead into 17th position, but Chinsky holds that battle for 16th position. There is still so much to play for in this race with 6 minutes left to go.
Kristen in the chat saying, where was it? Lol, breathe. To which I replied, we're trying. And then Lap Legends have responded with, who needs oxygen when you have racing? Rightly so at the moment in this race. Altoriso still on the back of Parks Miller. Davies just creeping away a little bit now. Sigurdsson has finally got ahead of Tan and Ebo, and I've just noticed down the timing screen, down in 19th places. Altoriso here looking and looking and looking for that gap. Tan and Ebo to come back at Sigurdsson at the moment. This has been an absolutely outstanding night. Someone messaged Chris Harris, keep Interlagos, keep it Format B. Maybe had a bit of wet weather in the live forecast. Hopefully it's coming in further seasons, because that'll be an interesting one. We don't need it here, you're perfectly right, as this is a battle. Minoto looking up the inside of Bishnitsky then, as the two Clutches Night Crew team swap places there. And what an absolutely fantastic race this has been. And this is all still for 15th place. Majori leading this one further down the pack. Gorbatenko trying to put the moves on Holloway in this race, down in 25th and 26th. And this just shows the depth of how far down these drivers are battling, trying to get as many points out of this race as possible. Gorbatenko in the BMW looking to that outside line, maybe trying to look for the up and under. As he comes through, gets the up and under. Dan Gorbatenko, what a beautiful move.
Yeah, the Velocity Server Racing Team driver there making a neat launch there on Holloway, and nothing that he can do to try and contest against that. And this is why I love the Format B racing. It's just so much closer and so much more concurrent racing that we get to see. I know that there's loads of strategy play in Format A, but Format B just allows for, well, it's 2 race starts you get to witness, and race starts always the most interesting part of the race. And obviously just way more closer driving, as drivers have got less time to dissipate out on track. And that's what we're seeing exactly. 5 minutes left to go. My goodness, the time has flown before the AMs pack away for tonight, and we'll be back with you next week yet again. But Bowie soon, another driver down in 22nd, 9 positions up. This is back up in second, and Altoricio has gotten his second place spot back up on it. The red Ferrari has been demoted, and he'll have to fight back up into third. So Altoricio finding a spot for the Race 4 G Sports team, and now hoping to try and close the gap down to Davis and potentially reclaim the lead here. But it's going to be a difficult fight if he wants to do that, with Parks Miller already putting pressure from the Driver Trainer Motorsports team just behind. And so we'll have to see how the events transpire for the top 3 here. It's going to be quite close between all of them. I saw someone in the virtual grandstand saying Troy Anderson is aka Anders Stappen. He's trying to come back. 3 seconds of a climb he's got to work with to Parks Miller. It's going to be a long and hard climb, but 4 minutes only left to go. And I'm not too sure if it's going to be highly possible at this point in the race. But 4 minutes left. The final 4 minutes of focus that you've got to do here at Interlagos to get yourself those positions you need.
Just taking a look at a replay. This is Altoriso. No, so sorry, apologies. Jim thought something had happened there, but it's not at the moment. So that's the end of that one. But yeah, this is absolutely fantastic racing we have seen as Davis, almost like a touring car driver there, flashing his lights away to the back marker to stay well out the way. And indeed, they do as they keep out the way. Oh, did they just make contact with Alteriso? Ooh. They're in the wall hard either way. But did Alteriso and the back marker just make a bit of contact? Jim Cunningham might have to find out what has happened there. But Parks Miller now couldn't capitalise on that one. Here we go. This is the replay. Alvarado then weaving down the Reda Aposta straight. Stays very wide for Davis. Oh no! Back in to the to almost the racing line does Alvarado there, and into that of Alteriso. That is a nightmare for the Camber and Caster driver in this one. But Alteriso doesn't seem to have come out that one too bad.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm glad to see that, unfortunately, the back marker there of Alvarado took the hit instead of Alteriso, because a bit of a weird play there coming from Jeremy Alvarado. I mean, I know he was trying to avoid, but then rejoining the racing line in the exit of turn 4 wasn't the best plays there, with Alteriso trying to capitalize on maximum speed. And so, fortunately, that big Mustang did not move an absolute inch against the Mercedes. You see, the likes of Alteriso pointed straight. He didn't even flinch whatsoever. And so, thankfully, he shouldn't have faced too much of a bit of a damage there as we close off this race. 2 minutes left to go. Berry still leads. Yeah, Ken Majori's gotten himself a black flag. That's in 15th. And now Berry is going to have a choice here. Casey Berry for the Streamline Motorsports is going to have a good opportunity here to get into the top 15. They go wide though. And Baczynski also jumps up onto the inside line. A little bit of a weird one becoming between those two drivers. One goes wide, one goes deep and narrow. Sorry, that was Minotto in the background, actually, I believe, who went completely off, not Baczynski. So Baczynski capitalized on that one. There we see Minotto. What's going on with him? He's lost out to Sigfusson as well. Just in those last 2 laps, he's lost 2 positions. And just in that last corner. So not too sure what's happened there. He's going to gain 1 on Majori going into the pit lane to serve the drive-through penalty. And so he'll drop severely off this pack. But 1 minute, 15 seconds left to go. Where is our race leader out on the circuit? Because that depends on if we get another lap. And yes, it looks like we will be getting 1 more lap left to go. He heads into the final bow section of section number 3. Into Junsao he will go and onto the main straight. So still about a minute left to go up towards the checkered flag. 1 more lap to go for Evan Davis. Can Alteriso catch? Can Parks Miller catch? And can a couple of the drivers in the mid packs try and get 1 more place before closing off the race?
Yeah, can they find some more? Colin Flynn is struggling to get by this of Amaro, who is blinking still throughout this race in this one. But, oh my days, we've got 1 lap left in this one before me and Tristan can take a well-earned short break before the pros bring the action, as Jim Cunningham's fingers will need a rest from clicking back and forth who we're trying to watch. He's had the ability to try and not speak that much, but he is so flabbergasted by what we're seeing out there on this circuit as Lewis Holloway attacking the rear of Schoppler at the moment. This is fantastic race to see at the moment in this one. Absolutely fantastic. Caden Parks Miller trying to come through to get back that second place, to try and score as little, to try and lose as little points to Davis as possible. Davis coming up to a bit of lap traffic. Here comes Parks Miller. Is he going to think of a move to the inside? No. Looks to the outside line. The lap back marker stays out the way. Parker opens the corner up, gets it hooked in on the apex, comes now through the long left-hand bend before climbing back up towards the final sector. This is all on the last lap of this race. Can Davis go 2 from 2 tonight? What a race that would absolutely be. This is fantastic to see at this moment in time.
Yeah, coming up towards the end of it now, the top 3 have been intertwined for pretty much the entire time in this final half an hour. That is crucial. Alteriso, it's a black flag penalty on the final corner, and he's exceeded track limits here. That's going to be a bump up for Parks Miller into second. Troy Anderson and Verstappen is going to get 3rd place here in the final feature race. Evan Davis will cross with another 50 points added to his board. That's 100 tonight. And what a great move there for Evan Davis to take it. But Alteriso is going to be devastated with that final move on the final corner, and he loses out. 40-second time penalty. Anderson's going to move up. Saba will move up. Flynn is going to move up. So many drivers are going to benefit from this. And Alteriso is going to lose every hope of finishing in the top 5.
And it's not done yet. Peyton May in a drag race to the line with that of Vincent manages to finish ahead. Patty in the Aston Martin's going to come across for 14th place. And we've still got fight. Sandy Regama has just moved up into 18th, but it is in a drag race with that of, where is Minoto? Minoto's there on the inside line, going slow. So whatever problems Minoto's got, they continue on as that of Kamari Odom got through. Tannen Ebone's in the background, but won't be able to get across the line. Suwon, Woods, Gorbatenko, all coming to the end. Oh my days, what an absolute race. Grandstand, do not go anywhere. 66 people I can see watching right now. The pros are coming up. Get the AM drivers in the virtual grandstand, because I think the pros are going to be just as wild. This is crazy. What a night this is turning into. And where did Alteriso finish in that race? Well, we'll see when everybody takes to the checkered flag, just awaiting Smallwood. Oh, lovely looking Brazilian livery on Smallwood's car there. I just saw on the little image on the side. That is beautiful. That might be better than the American Eagle one, to be fair. I quite, that's nice. That is beautiful. Nice. Reminds me of the Team WRT BMW M4 livery they run in the World Endurance Championship. They have a nice Brazilian themed livery in that, and that kind of gives me that kind of vibes in this race. Everybody in the virtual grandstand. What a race. Oh, brilliant. Fantastic. Davies wins from Parks Miller with Troy Anderson third. Andre Saba fourth from Colin Flynn. Dominic Amaro sixth from Herschel Ware. Havdal, Carol, May, Vincent, Patty. Alteriso down in 14th, just ahead of Berry, Bashinsky, Sigurdsson and Sandy Regama rounded out the top 18 there in this race. You'll see the rest of the drivers come up on your screen now. Whew. And relax for a brief moment, everybody, because we're going to take a very short break in a moment to go and check out the latest episode of the Foxxtecca podcast as we follow the journey of Destiny Spurlock through her journey to try and get into the NASCAR grid. And we'll get ready for the pro races coming your way in a few moments' time.
I've heard your name quite a bit. I'm excited to have you come race with us.
Glad to have you all on board with Carl.
Oh my God, I'm so happy to see you.
Destiny.
Nice
She's the one that
yes, you too.
I followed you the other day.
Do y'all see that? Do y'all hear it?
Yeah, I love it.
Oh,
My favorite thing in the whole world.
dude, you like feel it through everything. Ah!
Women are making a name for themselves in motorsports.
I don't see how you could be a race car driver, especially be a woman.
To go ride a pro stock motorcycle 180 mile an hour, I think we're going to sneak up on some people.
Destiny Spurlock in her Foxxtecca machine, working with the Iranas out of Fredericksburg, here in Virginia. She's not just coming out of nowhere here. This is a young lady who knows how to ride a motorcycle.
This is where she's supposed to be at.
This could be special. She might be able to do this.
So I would be the first African-American woman to race in NASCAR.
And she got the cup.
Okay, this is hers.
Nah. Yeah, the visor. Crazy work.
I got you. Ma, you look fly, girl. I guess we'll take her, get her pass, and then we'll go in.
Yeah, all she got to do is just go to the front and just sign the thing.
Okay. Watch your head.
We're at Hickory Motor Speedway today. Well, today's our first race of getting Destiny from a straight line to a round track circle. I'll be spotting from the stands, her eye in the sky, and driving her through the crashes, around the crashes, and we'll see what happens at the end, hopefully looking for a good finish.
Okay, no problem. Hey, I'm Jason Smith here with Jason Smith Racing. We're so excited here to have Destiny Spurlock in her first late model race here at Hickory Speedway, home of short track racing in NASCAR for the South. Been here for a lot of years. She's had some good practices leading up to this. Today's the day that really brings all our practice and everything together, so we're really excited to see what she can do today. My guys are getting the car ready here. We're going to early practice before race practice sets off later today, but we're here early. Getting everything ready. We've got tires, we've got new tires we got to mock up. We're getting all the pressure set with everything. Just a lot of work built up just to get it ready. She's getting ready to go out here in probably about 10 minutes for her first practice of the day. Looks like we've got a pretty good slate of cars here today for our first race of the year. We're excited for today.
Can you jump out for a minute? Can you jump out for a second?
It's only got 3 bolts in it.
In the valve cover?
The back one's broke.
Yeah.
How you feeling? Did the motor feel okay?
Yeah, the motor feels good.
I made throw coating in it just to make sure there ain't nothing wrong. Was it tight a little bit right there?
I felt, yeah, it was a little tight.
Your entry looks good down here. I can't really see off 2. Entry into 3 looks good. Where I see you lacking is just all 4, just really getting it down. Remember what we talked about? Make sure you're not maybe like drag brakes or something from Tri-County that you were doing up there maybe. Like that first lap behind the 99. Yeah. Like you were over half a second faster that first lap or 2, and then you wrapped it good. It looked like the front end got a little tight on you. That's why I was going to check the stagger and stuff on it. But you really got to get it slowed down. But then you really got to commit that gas to actually turn it off, like we talked about. That center off, just go ahead and start it, but it needs to be almost matted by the time you're getting it right here, and you're about half a car length high. Okay. And that's what's causing you not
half a car length high where?
Right here. That's about where you want. His left sides are basically on this side of both concrete patches here digging off. That's the main thing I see.
I want him to get in it so that way I know where I am.
Okay, I will make sure it's okay with you. Okay.
Basically, I just jumped into it, just trying to fine-tune the car, get it perfect. That way she doesn't have to worry about it, and it's perfect for her. She's improving every single lap, every corner, so trying to help ourselves, help her. That way she doesn't have to try to help us fix the car. We have it perfect for her when she gets in.
But he's also letting it travel. So he's lifted here and he's rolling through. So when you're going to get back in it, it's going to want to wash up. Let it wash a little.
Extremely impressed with every lap she's been doing. Definitely picked it up since first time getting in the car. Probably the best first timer I've seen in quite a while. Definitely looking forward to seeing what she can do through practice qualifying and see how she can do throughout the race.
What a great crowd of cars today. God's blessed us with a beautiful day, and man, I'm elated. I can't thank y'all enough for kicking off another year. All divisions at Hickory Motor Speedway are NASCAR sanctioned now, including the limited division. We got a lot packed into tonight, so be sure you guys are heads up, because we got to try to get as much done as we can with 7 divisions, and we're starting a little bit early, okay? Thanks a lot. Good luck, guys.
Obviously, I'm here in Hickory, North Carolina. I'm from Lenore, North Carolina, right up the road. So I've been coming here for about 15 years. I've seen Roger Caruth win here, LeVar Scott, and now it's time for me to see what Destiny can do. Don't invoice me, Chris. I do like it, though.
Destiny's going to take the Foxxtecca Chevrolet out, run green, white checker here qualifying. Dad's Hickory, and this is her first attempt. See what she can do.
What I think we should do is get one to leave all the seats in it. We just all ride.
Oh, I'm with it. I'm with it. I rode that minivan that time ago. I wasn't doing no part of it.
But Chris need to be on the inside, right?
Yeah, we need. I wasn't gonna say that. What part is? Left side way. She does know it.
We'll put Vern up front with the map, like the Valley Racing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Left turn here.
Left turn.
Left turn.
Left turn. Left turn. That would be great.
That'd be good, Vern.
We all went to a go-kart here in Mooresville. There's called the Pit. It's a go-kart track down there. So we all went. Well, I went a couple times, but
I think Alan
I think a couple of people have been going. I won't name no names, but they've been going down like twice a week to practice.
Practice it.
And then I think somebody paid off the timer guy.
Haters gonna hate. The two senior citizens.
You notice how they don't want to go back.
I'm just talking about it all.
This is kind of the first stop for everybody that's ever made it to Cup almost, kind of where everybody starts, and it's an old nostalgic place. It feels good to be here, and it's definitely one of the tougher tracks that you're going to run, so it's definitely a really good place to learn and try to figure out, and take what you learn here to another track, and you can definitely improve a lot.
Stay up with them and just follow the lines, learn, and start, just pick them off. There's going to be cars coming back to you. You can't win them on the first lap, but you can lose it. I want you to be ready to get on that gear. Woo, bam. That's what I'm ready for.
Being here with my baby for the first time flight is surreal. She's always been a go-getter. I'm proud of her. Everybody's proud of my baby.
Always remember, it's not how you start the race, it's how you finish. I'm telling you. She'll be coming in. Shut up. Yeah, very impressive.
Nothing but up from here, girl.
Golly! It was something else for me. Watching her go round and round that track, which always caused me to feel uneasy, but she loved doing it, so she loved it, I will love it.
Oh. I'm going to have to do 2 a day.
Well, this is what we would call a reality check.
Yeah.
This stuff isn't easy.
Absolutely not.
And I know what you did before. Damn sure it wasn't easy, and I wouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's just learning a skill.
Yeah.
When the 32 had a little bit of run, y'all had a good race going on. You was just a little quicker than he was, but then he was able to be more consistent.
And that's the thing, like, I know the car is there, point blank period. I know it's there. I know I have good bases to work with as far as tire control and handling the speed and all that stuff. I just have to perfect the corners, the entries, the exits, and my standards.
But 200 laps, you got about 3 weeks.
I'm in the gym tomorrow. Like, I'm not. No, I'm at the gym tomorrow. Like, this is crazy because I see the potential. I know what's there. I just gotta get it in.
Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, to the league by Foxxtecca. It is the pro chance to get out onto this circuit. Qualifying already underway here at Interlagos. And I've just seen a comment coming in the virtual grandstand. Why aren't you showing the qualifying? The podcast runs through. We let the podcast episode play. It gives myself and Tristan, our producer, Jib, a chance to run to the toilet, a chance to get the Pro Series set up, a chance to refill our drinks and get ready for this pro race. Especially after a chaotic race, 2 races that we've just seen in the AM class. Currently, qualifying is going the way of Rodrigo Metz at the moment, currently on pole position from Roman Pasucci, who is turning out to be quite the qualifier at the moment. Can he turn this into 2 race wins? We saw him just drop off the back of Marley Joff and David Toth last week. They're running 3rd and 4th from Andrea Muscolino. Valero is currently in P6 from Gabriel Ivanov, Johan Neshev, Eric Holzband, Elon Johnson, then Boyshev is running P11, Justin Hodge, DeSantis, Kevin Rold. 24 cars in this one. Sadly, the McLaren's not here tonight, but Dennis Grabowski flying the flag for the sole Ferrari over all the mighty American Ford Mustang cars. But he's down in 17th place for Dennis Grabowski at the moment, so just struggling a little out there in this qualifying session at this moment in time. But as you can tell, there's not a lot in it lap times. Dennis Grabowski is 18th. In fact, where do we get to a second? The top 23 are separate. No, the top 22 are separated by a second. That is how tight this qualifying session is. You get a big enough blanket, you could throw it over all of them.
Yeah, it's a super tight grid. You're coming in for the Pro Series race. And we're hoping to see the same level of action and the same level of enthusiasm and energy that we got to see in the AM class. But like we've spoken about, like we've been talking about, 11 minutes into our pro qualifying, and Rodrigo Metz up at the top of the 130.7 and looking good to keep that stride going. But obviously Marley Joff, David Toth, those two have been quite the contesters, as well as Pascucci over the past couple of races. So we'll have to wait and see if those 3 drivers, can possibly set a fast lap time. Joff does have the fastest first sector. Is it good enough? Indeed it is. 130.698, so just a little bit faster than the likes of Rodrigo Metz. So gets himself up into pole position, and that's going to be a good launch for that driver. And then we'll have to watch out for David Toth. He currently sits 4th, and will possibly also find himself some time out on the board. Tyler Carr down 16th position currently for the Ford Mustang. Unfortunately, most of the grid dominates of our Ford Mustang still in the Pro Series, and only one Ferrari, like we mentioned, currently down in 17th with Dennis Grabowski. A huge shout out, though, once again, to the amazing sponsors who have made today possible yet again here live at Apex Racing TV. We've got African American Automotive Association jumping in. That's with Chris Harris, who is often here to have a good in-depth chat about what they're doing and what their works that they've been doing here within the league by Foxxtecca. Dakins Design, for a couple of the drivers who don't have a dedicated design team, or friends who have a good eye for the paintbrush, like Mayor Dean Arena and the DO Racing team. But Dakins Design is always there to provide the support. Superlap also here with their teams out on the grid. They're also a great sponsor towards the league by Foxxtecca. And then as well as Roasted Records, providing the energy to all of the European drivers and any driver who is not in the American time zone, who is currently setting up early. But same with the Americans, a good late night coffee while taking on the league by Foxxtecca. That always hits the spot. And so great to see them out on board with Arena, currently sitting 15th. What a livery from DO Racing.
They do it every week. They do it every season. Well, I say every week. I'm not having last week's. That syrup livery was not. No, that one doesn't sit well. But I tell you what, they have outdone themselves this week. I said the livery of the Brazilian livery at the end was something to look at. But look at the beautiful. Oh, that is just something spectacular. That is just something spectacular. What a livery on a racetrack that has delivered already some fantastic racing. And can we see the beautiful Brazilian flagged livery of Mayor Diennery work his way to the sharp end of the grid? Marley Joff currently on provisional pole with 1 lap potentially left for some of these drivers in this qualifying session. What a session and what a night it has been so far here by the league in the league by Foxxtecca. I'm wondering if Jim can bring up the calendar to show you what is to come in the future races of this season. Halfway stage of the season, and there you can see the calendar. We then head to Road America next week, the full layout of the circuit for Format B once again. We then head to Sebring International for Format B as well. VIR for the A format before heading to the newly edition on iRacing St. Petersburg for Format A to end the season. So we start our American leg next week at Road America. Format B again, another brilliant circuit. Not quite on the same level as Interlagos, but Format B around there will be absolutely class to see what happens in that race. Qualifying though, coming to an end, 20 seconds left on the clock. Draw a lot of drivers in the pit lane, so if anybody can finish a lap time they're on to try and improve, now would be the time as Valero pops up into P5. And I think that is going to be all the improvements we're going to get, because 9 seconds left. I don't think anybody's close to getting a lap time in at qualifying here, Tristan.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, you can see the level of pushing as well coming from these drivers. About 3 or 4 drivers towards the end, they're getting a yellow flag penalty. That's just from going off of track limits and then getting a slowdown. And so the drivers are really pushing themselves to try and find every inch of time they can around Interlagos. Yeah, as we mentioned, the pro drivers all split between just about a second and maybe total 2 seconds from the drivers all the way down in 24th position. So a very, very marginal error factor that we have here for tonight. There's not much room for you to mess up in the Pro Series, and if you do, you're going to drop off, and it's going to be a long and hard battle to fight up towards the front. We do have the grid ready for you. It is Molly Joff up on the top of the WSR Esports team. Rodrigo Meets for Fiercely Forward in second. Roman Pascucci in third with David Toth in fourth position. Gal Valero in fifth position with Andre Mascalino in sixth. Gabriel Ivanov in seventh for the Auto Moves team. Ivelo Boyshev for the Negative Delta in eighth position. Yon Neshev in ninth with Rafael DeSantis in the Tatum Res Tech, and Kevin Rold for Super Apex stays. Justin Hodge runs off your top 12.
Indeed they do. And then on to the next and final 12 cars on the grid. Elon Johnson is in 13th place from Eric Holzband. 15th for Tyler Carr alongside Maya Dianarine. Dennis Grabowski 17th place with Russell Soto next to him. Rossalini Matisse is in 19th from Javier Sierra. Ty Dunnett in 21st from Ed Eisenring in 22nd. Walter Dunk lines up alongside Gabriel Jones on the final row of the grid.
Yeah, so 24 cars, slightly smaller than what we saw in the AM class, basically half, I'd actually say. And notice we're also missing our other Hungary line out on circuit, Nicholas Laubish. He's not joining his teammate this time around with Rodrigo Meets in the Fiercely Forward team. So, unfortunately, only one of your dominant yellow Mustangs who will be sitting up in the top 3, with Nicholas Laubish obviously having something else to attend to, possibly sleep, being a German driver. You know, it's a good 2:45 in the morning for him as well, so maybe just decided to skip the alarm clock and have a bit of a rest. And you know, not gonna lie to you, not the worst excuse I could find in terms of missing this league. I know the sleep is important, but the league by Foxxtecca, also one of the most inaugural out there currently on the iRacing platform. Formation lap has started. Our drivers will get ready with their brake dragging and making sure the tires are neatly warm as we head up towards the checkered flag line. Marley Joff with the pressure behind of Rodrigo Meets and Roman Pascucci and David Toth, the big 4 or 5 headers who will be taking each other on coming towards the start of this race. This is going to be quite a hefty start towards the front side, and hopefully we get a good amount of action in that front pack. Yon Neshev also down there as in 9th position, currently 10th, obviously being overtaken a bit, but will also be putting contention for that final spot, defending off the top 10s in the Mustang from the rest of the Mustangs. Only one Ferrari out on grid yet for tonight, but still will provide all the action here at the league by Foxxtecca. And let's hope we get an equally as entertaining race that we got to witness for our AM category.
Yeah, and this is going to be the interesting thing now, Tristan, isn't it? Is will these pro drivers that we see normally be a bit more patient, a little bit more lenient to making moves at the start of races? Will we see them be that way, be that patient, or will we see them try and make as many moves as they possibly can at the start of this race? Marley Joff has work to do in this one, as if I look at the league tables very quickly, because we haven't been able to bring them up. Marley Joff leads the way, 274 from David Toth on 254, so 20 points in it between Toth and Joff at the top, with Valero currently running 3rd place on 236. Meets is on 232 in 4th. We'll check the points during the warm-up to show you the rest of them as we come round. The safety car is about to pull into the pit lane. We're about to get underway for the start of this race. Joff has gone early. Green lights appear on screen now, so it's green and go for this second race. The first race of the pros. Down in towards the centre S as they all jumble up. It all gets nice and tight. 2 or 3 wide in the background. They filter through into the centre S's absolutely beautifully there. You may have noticed the one sole Ferrari in the middle of the pack, but Marley Joff gets away beautifully well at the front of the pack early doors. A lovely start from everybody down through the retroposter they go. Once again, David Toff looking to make a move but can't do so at this moment in time down in P4.
Yeah, David Toff all over the back of Roman Pascucci already, and that's heading into turn number 4, already placing the pressure there. The Sesha Esports driver wanting to try and put his hand up into the 3rd position slots, get ahead of the Argentinian, and let's see if he's got it in him to get past that pink Mustang. The rest of the drivers, though, all still relatively clean as they head up towards the top of the hill into Sector 2. They will go there. You see Made in Marine in the background. My goodness, his car sticks out. Someone's gone off, and someone's gone off quite badly. It's Jonas Shev, the driver who has unfortunately had a bit of a history throughout season number 3 of making contact here or there, has been knocked off the circuit in sector number 2. That's going to be wide off, and another driver making contact there. That's Rafael De Santis, who gets knocked off on the right-hand side, but he catches the car and is able to keep it going almost off the circuit. He gets knocked off, and again, a bit of a bump coming on the backside there from Mayor Dienarine, so a little bit of action here coming from our mid-packs. Here's a bit of a bump draft coming from Avelo Boyshev. That's on the backside of Gael Valero as they head up towards turn number 1 of the Center S's. Is the blue Mustang going to try and contest here for a possible overtake as they head down into turn number 1? Is the dive coming from Boyshev, or is he going to sit in the slipstream? Indeed he is. He's going to wait for a better opportunity as we now see more contact, and that's DeSantis, who's gone completely wide, and he's made contact with 3 other Mustangs who are off the track, and lots has transpired at the beginning of this race, unfortunately.
Yeah, one looked like Russell Soto as well, who was down there, and Justin Hodge both down the pack as David Toff now looking to make a move up the inside of that of Roman Pascucci at turn number 4 into 5. They go. They're being followed quite closely by Andrea Muscolino in his blue and red Ford Mustang just behind them, but nothing can be done about it at the moment. David Toff just sitting and waiting patiently. This is allowing Marley Joff and Rodrigo Meets to just pull away ever so slightly as Muscolino gets closer to the rear bumper of Toff there, coming down in towards turn number 9 now. It all just starts to tighten up through this middle sector. Do you look to make that lunge, or are you going to try and set them up to get the better exit out of Jung Sao in towards turn 10? You go. This long left-hander coming up, maybe a little bit of lift on the throttle as you come through. Now you head to Jun Sao, very crucial corner to get the exit right, 'cause it's a long run down to the next braking zone of turn 1. David Toff gets this one done, and at the moment now this is Muscolino, who's closer to Toff than what Toff is to Pascucci in this race. Toff just falling away at the moment.
Yeah, just not able to get up ahead there of Roman Pascucci. This is back into the battle for 11th currently with Dennis Grabowski and Mayo Dienarine as they continue to try and fight it out. And Mayo Dienarine up 4 positions already in the green Brazilian livery. He's going to get dive bombed now though by Matisse on the inside, and the number 15 Mustang saw the opportunity and tried to seize it, but Dienarine elbows out and completely forces Matisse out of that one. He's been chucked back towards Halsband, and now those two are going to be fighting it out. Great defensive maneuvers coming there, and Halsband is now actually going to get ahead of Matisse before the end of the straight here. So that's a bit of a fight that's going to go on in the background now, giving Dienarine a bit of a pillow that he's got to breathe with in the background. Sierra's going to lose out to Jones. That's the battle for 17th. Eisenring's also going to get ahead of Sierra there. So Sierra getting double overtaken just out of turn number 4, heading up into turn number 5. And then turn number 6, and someone's gone off on the wide line. Who is that? And that looks to be Dunk, I believe. No, not Dunk, or Ty Dunnett, I believe, who's taken the wide line there, but fortunately rejoins without any major consequence out on the circuit. Still lots of close racing up for grabs here with 20 minutes left to go in this race. And definitely we'll be seeing a couple of positions swapping around. Hopefully we can see some more action in our top 5.
Indeed we can, as David Toff still trying to stick with that of Pascucci. We've got Meets just dropping back within a second now of Marley Joff, and Pascucci dropping within a second of Meets as well. So all just trying to get together nicely here. This is Ivanov on the back of Boyshev for that 7th and 8th position. The blue Ford Mustang trying to make the move that he couldn't do earlier on, pushing almost Boyshev down the start-finish straight. They've got Johnson just behind the pair of them, not looking to make the move into turn 1 yet. They know they've only got 20 minutes left because Boyshev, Ivanov here would love to get get past Boyshev, I'm sure, and get on the back of the pack with Valero and the leaders as Neshev gets ahead of Sierra down the order for 18th and 19th place. Is this Ivanov's chance? The run through turn 3, down the Rotary Pesto they go. In towards turn number 4, pulls to the inside line. Ivanov later on the brakes and Boyshev gets the move done, makes it stick. Good little move there.
Yeah, great clean move there coming from Ivanov. It was tactical and it was strategic. He spent the past 2 laps behind Boyshev, waiting for a good overtake and not making any kind of risky dive bomb that would have possibly forfeited both of their races. And he saw the ample opportunity there on the exit of turn number 3 to make the dive up into the end of the straight there. So great move there coming from Ivanov. He moved up into 7th position. Boyshev now back down to 8th and gets fed to Elon Johnson. Dealerin's car seems to have Christ the Redeemer up on the top of the car. That's also been mentioned to by our virtual grandstand. So very, very nice to see the lots of Brazilian culturistic taste coming onto that car. Right on the bank smack bonnet that we'll get to see with the helicam. Sorry, not the bonnet, the roof. And man, just adding more and more to the detail, the level of detail of the liveries provided by the Dia Racing team. With Made in Arena currently pioneering that car out on circuit. Even the green wheels, I mean, those wheels are literally glowing on that car. It's great to see the level of inspiration on these liveries out on circuit. And for those drivers who currently go around circuit with maybe just choosing one of the default liveries, let this be inspiration to you from Dia Racing that having a good livery allows you to be mentioned on the live stream, which is always a nice thing. So make sure you get those nice liveries out running out on track, and you'll definitely be more mentioned on the YouTube.
So 6.5 minutes into this race, and this is Boyshev not fallen off the back of Ivanov, trying to make a move back. Holzband here trying to fend off from Matisse at the moment, who just has a little wiggle there through the exit of turn number 4. And Matisse now coming under pressure from Dunk in the background. So Dunk looking to try and make a move done. Ty Dunnett waiting in the wings as well. In towards turn number 7 and 8 we go. This battle in the mid-pack just building quite nicely at the moment. And we see in these battles in the Pro, this is what we see from them. A little bit more patient than the AMs, a little bit more, waiting to make that move to get the job done in the races. As here comes Dunk looking to the outside of Holzband, who holds that inside line nicely. Neshev gets himself ahead of Jones for 17th place further down the order. The orange numbers flooding everywhere. Look at that, one by one they come through, just filtering snake-like through the middle sector here at Interlagos.
Yeah, lots of action coming in there from Neshev to Jones, Sierra, Eisenring, Hodge, Carr, DeSantis, and Soto. That's a huge train for the end leg of this race from 17th all the way down to 24th. And you can see it completely isolated on the track map at the back right-hand side, just heading up towards the checkered flag line now. So Neshev has got a long way to work here if he wants to try and climb back up to the likes of Ty Dunnett. But Molly Joff has done an incredible job to put a little bit of distance between himself and the roaring lion behind of Rodrigo Meets. About a 1.1 second gap to the driver behind, and then Pascucci is still busy chasing on with Toth behind at Muscolino. Valero is also pushing on strong behind Muscolino, so we could be seeing a good position swap out there. Unfortunately for Ivanov, 3.2 seconds off of Valero, so a bit of a gap between the top 6 and the battle for 8th position, with that isolation of 7th of the likes of Ivanov. So a bit of a distance coming in there from our pro drivers, but hopefully we'll still see the action springing out on circuit. So Muscolino does have that pressure. Justin Hodge down 20th. He's now got on the outside line, I'm on the inside of Eisenring, and he's now going to try and hold it here for the fiercely forward for the SR Motorsports team. Let's see, he's just got his teammate up in front of Sierra, and looks like he's made that position stick. Unfortunately for Eisenring, he does get fed backwards towards Tyler Carr and DeSantis as they still head into this huge battle for 17th position, and all of them still trying to find as much position out on track as possible.
They are indeed, as DeSantis gets up the inside of Tyler Carr there and makes that move stick. So DeSantis up another position into Jung Sao they go. Tyler Carr sends one back. This is all for the final 3 places out there. DeSantis gets a horrible run. Wasn't happy with the send. Nothing wrong with that move in my opinion. DeSantis flashes the lights, but he's got to worry about Russell Soto coming side by side down for 23rd and 24th position in this race. Russell Soto trying to attack him down the start finish straight. There you go. Once more to start the lap 7 of this race. 10 minutes nearly into it. Russell Soto up the inside of DeSantis. Move done for Russell Soto. Good move considering that these 3 was all off at turn 1 a few laps ago.
Yeah, incredible stuff there coming from these drivers, and all being off in turn one, like we mentioned, due to that small incident, and now busy fighting it out on circuit with each other. Javier Sierra still down in 18th position currently. He's got his teammate Hodge up on the inside. No teammate contact, please. And fortunately, they do manage to stick it out together out on track, but Hodge now moves up ahead for the SR Motorsports team. Nice little camber and caster feature on the side of that car as well. In the Pro Division, they try and keep up with Yo Neshev, but it's about a 2-second gap now that Neshev has been able to build to keep away in 17th position. Ty Dunnett also 1.2 seconds away from the likes of Neshev. So a little bit of distancing coming in now from a couple of our mid-pack drivers, but still lots of action to play for here in the last 15 minutes of racing. Andre Mascalino is still feeling the pressure there from Gal Valero, who still sits 4 tenths behind. And so those two could potentially start to spring an attack on each other. David Toth is currently trailing as fast as possible behind Pascucci. 7 tenths to go, but it's a hard line of work because Pascucci is trying to trail into the backside of Meat. So it's a bit of a chain reaction right now between our top 5 drivers as they all try and contest it out with each other. But currently Joff is doing exactly what he needs to do in this shorter 20-minute race. He's keeping that 1-second gap and he's not letting it drop.
He's not exactly pulling away to greater knots, is he? He's just controlling this race nicely at the moment. Valero on the back of the train for that second place is just gaining on Muscolino a little bit more. There you can see in the background how close they are. This is Boyshev and Ivanov, also pretty close to each other for 7th and 8th place. Cars got ahead of Eisenring down for 21st and 22nd, as there you see Boyshev just flashing the lights at Ivanov ahead of him. This is down with Tyler Carr. May even fancy another move here on Sierra, and does get that move. Does he hold on to it? Yes, Tyler Carr does. Down 5 places, but he's started to work his way through the pack nicely. Eisenring also gets up ahead another place. So good couple of moves from the drivers down the order. That is Eisenring. No, sorry, not Eisenring. That is Carr going up the inside of Jones now, and Eisenring trying to follow suit as well. Is there a bit of netcode contact, sending Eisenring spinning at the moment. Not fully off, not too far away from the back of the pack. But, yeah, Eisenring, bit of netcode contact. Russell Soto fancies a move back up the inside of Raffaele DeSantis in this race. Still together, these two have been battling it out for quite some time, and DeSantis manages to hang on for the time being. But Soto looks to come back at him into Jung Sao as DeSantis got the up and underdone there. He saw it coming this time. He gets the momentum out the penultimate corner, and now Raffaele DeSantis has that inside line and gets the move done.
Yeah, great move there coming from DeSantis, but now he's got the pressure heading down in towards turn number 1, and just on the back end is still going to be Russell Soto, who, as you can see, is holding the inside line. Yes, Sierra's jumped into the pit lane, and here comes the dive from Soto from the background, and the Golden Eagle is going to try and contest it again for 21st position, gets ahead of DeSantis, coming out of that first corner sweep of the Senaresses. And great move there to keep himself in the 21st position. Yo Neshev for the negative Delta Simgear still holding off 16th position, but Ty Dunnett is starting to put more and more pressure each lap that goes by. He's trying to catch up to Dunk with Walter Dunk, and let's see if he can get past. About 2 seconds still coming up, and Neshev obviously just got past Ty Dunnett in that past wave. From 17th up to 16th he will move, and so Ty Dunnett will want to try and reclaim that position, but the likes of Neshev now trying to chase back on to the likes of Dunk. Andrea Mascalino has not been overtaken yet by Gael Valero, and Valero just not having it in him just yet to make an overtake stick here. The French driver just sitting in the background waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike here. He's got loads of time to play with behind, with Ivanov being 4.5 seconds away, so he does get to play this as safe as he possibly wants and make that dive when he feels necessary. You can see again staying just in the wake there of Mascalino, not doing anything risky that's just going to end up slowing both the drivers down, and so he sits in the wake still as they head through to the CNS. There's Elon Johnson, who now gets past Boyshev, but again Boyshev comes back up into 8th position, and Elon Johnson has to resort back down to 9th. Kevin Rolled in 10th now is looking to contest, so another battle out on the grid here for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, another battle indeed for the last 10 minutes, as this is Kevin Rolled on the back then of that of Johnson, trying to look to make a move. You saw Johnson just pull out there and try and defend his line. Sierra is out of this race, it's saying, so hopefully they're back on the grid for race number 2. Whatever problem that was, hopefully it is sorted. As you can see in the background, Deanna Arena is gaining on Grabowski as well in the background for a potential fight developing in this final 10.5 minutes of this race. As Rolled had a little bit of a lock there. Toth cannot move up in this race at the moment, just cannot get close enough to Pasucci to get ahead. Excuse me, into P number 3. Met cannot stay with Marley Joff, and Pasucci can't get close enough to him. So the top 4 just kind of stagnated at this moment in time, Tristan. Just cannot get close enough to each other. And for Valero, can't get past Muscolino. Looks like he's got a bit more pace in him, but just cannot find a way through.
Yeah, playing a bit of a patience game there from Valero. I think he's going to strike, but he's having to wait for the best opportunity here so that he can stay ahead without Muscolino having an easy chance to try and attack back. So possibly waiting for a bit of an exit corner mistake here from Muscolino, and that's where Gal Valero just making sure he is staying as close as possible for when that mistake happens, he can immediately jump on the backside and move up. Elon Johnson still trying to fight it out with Boyshev, and Kevin Rold is holding on at the backside in 10th position. Denis Grabowski about a second off from them in the Ferrari 296. You can see him just there further on in the background as he tries to fight it out. Further on, it's still Halsband and Dunk. These two now fighting it out for 14th position. Dunk trying to get away from Neshev, and this could potentially be a bit of a fight coming on. Halsband now holding on to that outside line in the Superlap team. Dunk has the inside line, but not enough, and it looks like Halsband is going to hold the rotation on the outside as they head up into turn number 6 and 5. And let's hope that we see a bit of an overtake coming in here, because Dunk is putting pressure on the outside line. And guess who's in the background? The person they were trying to avoid. It's Neshev, who's now joined the battle for 15th position after his contact earlier on in this race, and now he's wanting to try and recapitalize, and there he's already joined in on this battle for 14th position. Yeah, Halsband, Dunk and Neshev all fighting it out on circuit.
They are all fighting it out on circuit, and it was a great little battle. That nobody changed places throughout all of that one. Dunk stays ahead. Halsband stays ahead of Dunk. Dunk stays ahead of Neshev at the moment. Ty Dunnett's gaining on the back of this pack as well. So a great little battle happening out there between all the drivers at the moment. They're just not able to capitalize at all over the other person. This is the bonus of the pros, is they're all just matched similar on pace, that it is very difficult to overtake out there in this race. But for what's this happening further forward, Elon Johnson, again, the defense from Boyshev in this race, really super defensive there, trying to fend off Johnson, Rold and Grabowski. Dianarine trying to get onto the back of this pack as well in what has been a crazy mid-pack race. And look at Boyshev there, again, super defensive early to not try and allow the cars to attack him.
Yeah, 100% there from that driver of Boyshev down in 8th position. This is Denis Grabowski still holding off in 11th, and holding on with Kevin Rold and Dianarine as they all head into a bit of a train. Still busy fighting it out here. This is coming into the last 7 minutes of racing to go, so not much time left on the clock for our pro drivers as they head towards the end of it for the sprint race, and looking at it now for the feature race, if Boyshev can possibly play the strategy cards here, he currently sits down in 8th position. That's going to switch him up to 1st position in that feature race, meaning Ivanov's also going to hold 2nd, Muscolino will hold 3rd. So those three possibly looking to remain where they are, not really try and go for one more position here. It wouldn't really make sense for Boyshev to push for one more if he can start on 1st for the next race, which will give him the best possible opportunity to score even more points in that feature race. So it all comes down to the little bit of strategy there in the top 8. Dianarine in 12th position is behind Grabowski still, as this long train just continues to build here from Boyshev all the way down to Dianarine. And let's see if we can see a couple more switch ups in these last 7 minutes that may change the status of how this race is looking.
And that's possibly why, Tristan, that Boyshev is defending so aggressively to try and hold on to what would be pole position in that second race of the afternoon, the 30-minute feature race in this one today. There are 6 minutes left on the clock in this race. And so far, Boyshev is really aggressively trying to cover off the inside line every which way he can. And he's doing it early, trying to not allow the car behind to have any sort of momentum on that inside line. And Boyshev goes deep now, and that opens the door for Johnson to have a look. Almost contact between the two. Johnson now to the outside, but Boyshev there nearly opened the door for Johnson to get through. Oh, now
he's actually opened it. My goodness, Johnson just forced his way through there, and Boyshev had absolutely no answer to that. He has his answer to it. It's to do the same thing back at him. It's lots of shoulder-to-shoulder racing between the pro-level drivers, but because of that fighting that's happened between the top two, it's now going to allow for Dianarine to try and climb back on and potentially join in on this top battle, because now Boyshev and the likes of Ivanov have been placed under immense pressure, because now Kevin Rold and Elon Johnson in the background can try and push on between these two Olympic drivers who have been fighting it out the entire time between this last drive, and Boyshev and Johnson, apologies, not Ivanov and Boyshev. And now we can see that Kevin Rold is putting pressure on the likes of Johnson on the outside line. Grabowski and Dianarina fully joined in on this battle, and we could potentially be seeing a couple of swaps coming in here on the inside line. It is going to be Johnson holding it from Rold on the outside line, but in the switchback maneuvers, it looks like Johnson's just going to be able to keep up there and maintain 9th position. Great heap of fighting here coming for the battle for 8th position.
It is indeed. It's Dianarine now looking on the back of Grabowski, going side by side down in towards turn number 4. Here comes Dianarine in the bright green Brazilian livery on the inside line of Grabowski. Can he hold it there? Can he get the move done? That is then that of Kevin Rold, who is just closing that stopping that momentum of Dianarine, who still has Grabowski on the inside line and can't get through. Grabowski manages to hold on to P11 in this race at the moment. What a battle this is turning out to be in the final 4 and a bit minutes of this race. Boyshev hanging on in there for dear life, while at the back of the queue, Dianarine, trying to attack Grabowski as much as he can. This is bringing Matisse back into play as Jones picks up the black flag. That is Johnson making a dive on Boyshev now. Apologies, Rold making a dive on Boyshev, and now through goes Johnson and Grabowski trying to make up places as well. So Johnson has lost out to Rold, and Boyshev coming back at him with a dive of his own. Grabowski 3 wide, coming up towards the start straight. Grabowski on the inside, Boyshev in the middle. Bit of contact still, more contact, hard into the wall. Goes out of Johnson and Boyshev. Oh no, don't roll across the circuit. Oh, nearly another one there.
Yeah, Johnson making a critical error there at the end and just not getting the car stopped. But what on earth has happened between the 3 cars there? Neshev has dropped all the way down to 14th position after the contact made there with Johnson. Those 2 drivers completely ruining their chances, and Neshev was just able to try and hold off an 8th position, and now he's completely thrown it away there, and Rold will now take the defensive position with 4 minutes left to go. Not a lot of time left for Kevin Rold. Here comes your replay on the back straight of what on earth has just transpired in this race towards the end of it. Yeah, so he has no Yoneshev just on the backside now of Elon Johnson, who's just a bit further up ahead, and then Kevin Rold, who currently leads the small 3-way battle. They try and go 3 wide, so there's Kevin Rold, and now in the mid-pack, so there on the inside is Grabowski, on the outside is Johnson. Just a bit of a tap there coming from Neshev, and a complete knockoff on the right-hand side is going to lead to Johnson absolutely flooring it into the wall. And then obviously we see Neshev, he stayed out, but I think for the likes of Elon Johnson, he probably would have had to come in after that heinous amount of damage on the front of that Mustang. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like he has actually stayed out this late in the race. Might not be worth it to come to the pit lane, but both those drivers completely throwing away their chance of getting a good top 8 flip, and now they'll have to try and fight it out back out on track. Johnson down 22nd, Neshev down 13th.
Yeah, Neshev down in 13th. And, it looked a little tit for tat on the replay, didn't it? A couple of dive bombs went in, and then all of a sudden the contact made between the 2. But Grabowski up a couple of places, Dianarine up into the top 10 as well. So good for them as Joff has pulled an even bigger gap out front there. You can see the movers and fallers up and down the order in this one, but Joff pulls out to 1.8. Meets is pulled away from Pascucci, and Toth all over the rear of the P3 man at the moment, going into what will be, this is the penultimate lap of the race. There'll be one more after this. David Toth really trying now to make a move to get on that podium and not lose as many points to Marley Joff as possible in this championship battle. Is this now the David Toth that we're going to see look to make a move at the very end?
Yeah, let's have a look and see if David Toth from the Sesha Esports team is going to try and make the lunge on Pascucci. Yeah? We know David Toth has been a lot more controlled this season, and like we spoke to him in the previous interview, is that he's got no one to fall back on in this race. There's no more Sesha Esports teammate of Ballas Pala in the league by Foxxtecca that's racing with him, and so he does have to play the cautious cards here, being the only driver in his team out on track, just trying to render as much points for the team instead of trying to push for an overall combined effort between 2 drivers. And so David Toth now on the push from Pascucci. Is he going to be able to overtake in this final lap, or is he going to play the safe card here and rather sit in the wake of him and go for a settled 4th position? That will position him dead in the middle of the top 8 rotation, so still in 4th position when the rotation comes in, whereas if he moves up into 3rd on Pascucci, he is going to be taken down to 5th position. So all strategy comes into play here. Joff is going to go all the way down to 8th position after this rotation, but now into the final lap, this is going to look to be a rendering of about 50 points here for Marley Joff if he can keep this up, with Meats and Pascucci following him behind almost over 2 seconds.
Yep, almost over 2 seconds indeed in what has been a great opening race of the night. Remember, the next race, 30 minutes long, so we get the extra 5 minutes, no pit stops in both in this race. Muscolino looking to try and find a way through in this race for that P5 as well as David Toth, but we're coming towards the end of the lap. Through the middle sector we go, about to start the final sector for the last time in this first race here at Interlagos. What a crazy night of racing it has been already. The pro race a little bit calmer, a little bit quieter, but has still been that little bit of franticness about it at times. It looks like Marley Joff is going to take another race win this season, and David Toth is not going to find himself on the podium. But here is your race leader. Marley Joff is going to take the race win, and he's going to do it in pretty good fashion here at Interlagos. Marley Joff wins the first race of the night, and he'll be starting in P8 for race number 2, followed by Meats, Pasucci, Toth, Valero and Muscolino, your top 6 in what has been a lot quieter, but still a great first race.
Yeah, good action between the pro drivers, and a couple of them making some rather weird errors here or there, which we've seen up and down the grid. But overall, a little bit of a cleaner experience that we got to experience from the AM class, and that's obviously the main differentiator you're going to see between the pro and AM series. Is not necessarily the speed or the entertainment, but just the pure experience of rather making more concise and constructive decisions in terms of overtakes and your track maintenance. Elon Johnson, the driver who was trying to contest for 8th position, is going to come across the line in 21st, all the way down with Ed Eisenring and Jones. Those 3 drivers all the way down, falling quite far off of the packs. 8 positions down for Elon Johnson's, 10 for Rafael De Santis. So a couple of our drivers just not getting what they wanted here in today's racing action. We do obviously have the final classifications coming up. It is Marley Joff who takes the win here, with Rodrigo Meats and Roman Pascucci taking 2nd and 3rd. David Toth, Gael Valero, Andrew Muscolino with Gabriel Ivanov in 7th. Kevin Rold will take the flip to 1st position, with Denis Grabowski just missing out in 9th. Maidenreen in 10th, with Rosalini Matisse in 11th. 12th for Eric Alsband. 13th for Yon Neshev. 14th for Walter Dunk, 15th for Velo Boyshev. I would stop here, but it's only 24 drivers, so we'll just get through it. It's Justin Hodge tied down at Tyler Carr. Russell Soto down 19th, with Rafael De Santis down 20th. 21st is Elon Johnson. 22nd is Ed Eisenring. Gabriel Jones takes 23rd, and Javier Sierra rounds off your 24-car grid down at the backside, 9 laps off.
Indeed they do. So the drivers will have a quick warm-up period now before they take to the grid for the second race of the evening, and what was a lot quieter first race of the night. But if you're Marley Joff in that one, Tristan, you could be pretty impressed with the pace shown out there. You've now, though, got to change your strategy, because you're the one now, yes, with the added 5 minutes, that has got to start to make some moves through the field if you're wanting to get back to the front of the pack, obviously starting from P8.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a mission here for Marley Joff if he wants to try and climb back and obviously try and score another 50 points. I mean, we saw the likes of Evan Davis do it in the AM class, but obviously the pros being split by way less of a margin here. And so this is going to be a bit of a difficult battle here for Marley Joff. He's going to have to play his cards right if he wants to perform the same. We do also have the point standings, the championship standings currently for the pro division, which we'll go through now quickly through our warm-ups. It is still Marley Joff at the top, like we mentioned, with 270 points. David Toth, his rival, about 20 points exact behind. Obviously, after that first race now, that changes things up a little bit. Gal Valero holds 3rd, with Rodrigo Meats in 4th. 5th is Nicholas Laubish, who's not here today for the Fiercely Forward team. And then Roman Pascucci down 6. He's also climbing the ladder board as every single race goes by. Yoann Neshev 7th, Elon Johnson 8th, 9th for Kevin Rold, and 10th for Gabriel Ivanov. And you can see the rest of our drivers in the pro class, and in terms of their standings out on track between this season of season number 3, how they are so far looking, being halfway through the season. It's crazy to think that we're already halfway through on such a critical series, and it's coming to an end already after 4 weeks, which is super sad to be saying, quite frankly.
It is indeed, but hopefully it means that season 4 will be right around the corner. Obviously, we've got we're in July now. I think we finish in August. So does that mean we could get another season in towards the end of the year? Potentially so, October, November time, just before Christmas it could end. Potentially that would be an interesting one. Or will it be a long wait until the new year? That's going to be the biggest question. And what tracks will we see on the calendar for next season? Interlagos, I think, is a definite fit in, and we'll see what else is out there as well, because there's some fantastic tracks left on the iRacing platform that haven't even been touched at this moment in time. So we'll see what they can bring. And obviously, of course, the later the seasons go on, in terms of season 4 being in the winter, certain circuits with that live weather around could just make that weather a little bit more interesting into that. But yeah, halfway through this one, it's been a fantastic season though, Tristan, once again, hasn't it? Season 3 has really been a nail-biter in both championships at the moment. There's been some great action throughout every night so far, and we've still got 4 weeks to go.
Yeah, 4 weeks to go still indeed, and the action that's been provided so far has been nothing but the standard for the league by Foxxtecca. Kevin Rold will be starting off in the pole positions now for the Super Lap team, with Gabriel Ivanov in second for the auto moves. It is third for Andrea Mascalino and fourth for Gael Valero. David Toth will be starting fifth for the Sesha Esports, with Roman Pascucci in sixth. Rodrigo Meets down seventh, and Marley Joff with the flip will be starting down in 8th position. Dennis Grabowski just on the outside will stay 9th, with 10th being made in Areen. Rosalini Matisse and Eric Carlsband rounds off your top 12.
They do P13, and in this race is Johan Nesher from Walter Dunk. Boychev is in P15 from Justin Hodge. Ty Dunnett from Tyler Carr. Russell Soto from DeSantis. Johnson alongside Ed Eisenring in 22nd. Gabriel Jones and Javier Sierra, who hopefully will take to the grid in this one, because we lost them from that first race. They have not gridded up, so whatever issues it has been for Sierra, they look like they have not taken to the grid. So down to the 23 cars in this one for the 30-minute race, Tristan, in which should be an interesting one to see this top 8 reverted. Remember now that David Toth is a couple of places clear of Marley Joff, so what will the strategy be there?
Yeah, David Toth now sitting 3 positions ahead of Marley Joff, and so that's going to be a critical point that you've mentioned there, Matthew, in terms of their championship standings being 2 rivals. And if David Toth can maybe keep Marley Joff behind, possibly getting first position here for David Toth, if he's able to work hard enough for it, this could be some good points rendered for their rivalry up at the top blocks. But Kevin Rold's also got a good opportunity here today to score some points. I believe he's somewhere down on the mid-pack of the championship standings as it currently stands. But starting off on first position is going to give him the best possible opportunity to render some good results for today's race. And Gabriel Ivanov also in second, with Andrea Mascalino and Gael Valero. Roman Pascucci also a very dangerous force, and Marley Joff's going to have to get past him and Rodrigo Meets before this race obviously comes to an end after half an hour. But the pace car is officially on the back straight now as we head up towards the checkered flag line with Kevin Rold and Gabriel Ivanov. They'll be taking us away for the start of it. It's all eyes on Kevin Rold though. He's going to be starting the launch procedure for this race. They all tuck up neatly close together, the Ford Mustangs, all waiting patiently for the race start. Our pace car is going to be pulling in here shortly for the start of this race. Keep your eyes on the gantry lights, and the pull-off's already gone though, with the likes of Kevin Rold getting a good launch on Gabriel Ivanov. A couple of our drivers already starting to split up in the background there. We see Mayor Noreen going well on the inside line, possibly trying to render a couple of positions. Same strategy that his brother did in the AM classes, but Kevin Rold, great start to it. Gabriel Ivanov, and someone's gone, and it's Johnson who's made contact in the background, I believe, and he's dropped off all the way down to 19th position. Not the start that Johnson needed in this race to try and redeem himself. Kevin Rold and Gabriel Ivanov, though, have gotten a good launch, and Gael Valero will now put pressure on the top 2.
He really did. I think it was Walter Duncan, Tyler Carr, because Johnson's gained 4 places, so it was Duncan Carr. Grabowski's also dropped down 11 into 20th place, so not the start for Grabowski, but side by side go the leaders of Rold and Ivanov in towards turn 7. They go. Also side by side action further down the field. This is Johan Nesher going side by side. Bit more tyre smoke. You didn't quite see what happened there in the background, and that is the leader. Rold is around at turn number 9 and is dropping right down the field at the moment, and this is all playing into the hands of David Toth, but Marley Joff has only gained 1 place at the moment in this race.
Yeah, 2 super lap cars just getting knocked off circuit there at the same time. That's Rold and Russell Soto That was on the entrance of turn number 6. He got knocked off on the left-hand side. That's what the smoke was for. So 2 super lap cars not getting the start that they wanted. Yeah, Kevin Rold is going to drop significantly off. But Molly Joff, like you mentioned, has not gotten the start that he needed here in order to chase down on the top spots, because he's now gotten ahead of Roman Pascucci, but not fully ahead just as of yet. He's still fighting alongside. And Maya Dinarines obviously kept holding on to 5th position here. Molly Joff, though, is just losing time now, though. The more and more time he spends away. Is it a double overtake, though, coming from Molly Joff? He goes alongside now with the likes of Maya Dinarine. He cannot get ahead just as of yet. And now Pascucci is going to come back to fight for it, because Molly Joff has sacrificed his corner exit here. And now on the inside line, pushing wide, is Rodrigo Meets. He's looking for track space that doesn't exist, because Molly Joff goes fully defensive to keep that line blocked, and it is highly competitive. And someone's off in the background, and I believe it's Justin Hodge. Yeah, it's Hodge, who's currently sideways on circuit, who's taken a bit of a beating, and another driver falls to the pressure of the feature race.
It does indeed. And Molly Joff, we saw how difficult it was for Toff to pass Pascucci in this race, who nearly gets into the boot lid of that of Maya Dinarine here. And round the outside of Pascucci at the moment, looks to go that of Meets in this race. Molly Joff just cannot find a way through. Back down to 8th place goes Joff, and a big send from Neshev on Matisse in the background. Matisse manages to hold on to that one. Neshev couldn't get the move done, but Ivanov out front from Valero with Muscolino in 3rd. Toff running 4th once again, and maybe now is the chance for him to pull some points back on that of David Toth in this race. We have lost Walter Dunk from this race. Sierra never got started, and Hodge still in the pit lane. So are we down to 21 drivers in this race? But here comes that of Meets on the back of Pascucci, who defended like a warrior in the first race. Can he do the same now? Dinarine defending for his life in towards the center S as they go. Rodrigo Meets at the moment. There is a gaggle, a real big queue of cars, all behind Maya Dinarine, who is defending like a lion out there.
Yeah, Dinarine doing a great job there up in front in the green Mustang to keep everyone behind. And Pascucci really putting the pressure now to try and get past Joff. Also, like we mentioned, not getting the start. He did get up into 6th position. He got pushed all the way back down to 8th, and now he's back up into 7th, and he's rotating too much in the background. He needs to try and get up into the top 5 here if he wants to compete with David Toth, who holds 4th position. There's still definitely possibility as everyone's fighting it out in front. Pascucci is almost 4 seconds off of Toth here, and that's going to be a long, hard fight for Dinarine and Joff if they want to try and catch back up towards Toth. So we'll have to keep our eyes peeled for those drivers as they all rotate around each other for the remainder of this race. Rossellini Matisse, though, has dropped down to 10th position in a battle here with the likes of Neshev and Boyshev as they both, all three, head down into the final sector here for Interlagos. And holding off on 9th position is going to be Matisse, seeing what he can do. The French driver now moving up on the inside and still holding 2 positions gained overall, but pressure from behind is starting to get quite severe from those drivers. Halsband alongside DeSantis, these 2 drivers going to go neck and neck here, with DeSantis being 7 positions up, heading down towards turn number 1 of the center S's here, and it looks like Rafael DeSantis is going to hold the inside here and have the advantage.
Yep. Much better race for DeSantis this time round as Matisse going up the inside of Neshev, or defending the inside from Neshev. Does Neshev have that overlapping towards the second part of the centre S's? Yes, he does. Oh, and that is Matisse into the wall, rolling out of harm's way, and backwards he goes. 18th place, and is that Matisse's night over? There was another car there in the background, very, very wide, as now DeSantis coming under pressure from that of Kevin Rold in towards the turn number 4. There you go, DeSantis on the inside line. The Golden Falcon pushed out wide, still fighting hard, keeps the momentum on the outside line, and now looks to have the inside line into turn number 6. And Kevin Rold finds a way past DeSantis in this race. It's a little more frantic in this second race, Tristan.
Yeah, definitely more frantic indeed, and DeSantis really trying to work with what he's got here. Last 25 minutes to go, and he really needs to put his head down here and try and potentially get up ahead of the drivers who are ahead of him and who have been presented. But further back in the background, though, it's still Halsband trying to fight it out. This is back with Joff in 7th position. He's now got Dinarine up in front, and Dinarine is not going to give it as easily up for the championship leader here, because he's in his own championship and he needs to try and earn as many points as possible. It's not a freebie there for the likes of Joff, and he's got to work for it on that green Mustang if he wants to try and work a position up here. This is still Gaia Valero. He's gotten up into second with Muscolino, trailing behind in third, and Ivanov still leading this race currently after the drop-off of Kevin Rold and a couple of other drivers who tried to claim top spot. But now it's given to Ivanov, and Valero chasing in the background with Muscolino holding third. Toth is also just behind in fourth, and if he wants to make any kind of gain here, he needs to do it soon, because the further he can get away from Joff, the better his point scoring opportunities are going to be in this race.
Yep. Nose to tail at the moment between Valero and Ivanov. Muscolino waiting in the wings to the outside line. Ivanov defending that inside as well, as here comes Valero to try and look the long way around. Toth just being patient and waiting for something to happen. As Valero, does he get a nose up the inside in towards turn number 8? He does, but it becomes the outside of turn 9. Valero still trying to look hard around the outside. Muscolino might fancy a little sniff of an opportunity here. And now Valero will have the inside. Again, it'll become the outside, though. They just cannot get past each other at the moment. Ivanov doing everything he can and holds on to that lead of this race. Toth is just waiting for something to happen with these three. Does not want to get involved at the moment.
No, definitely not, and does not want to ruin his race over some kind of small incident this early on. But Toth also needs to try and make a move on here to get away from Joff in 7th position, but he needs to do it smart in order to get the most amount of gain here. The top 4 are all separated by about a 10th to 2 between each other, so that's good to see. There's no runaways in this race compared to what we saw in the sprint race and what we saw in the AM race. We now have Deanarine going defensive against Molly Joff. Not Molly Joff, but yes, against Molly Joff. Molly Joff has taken 6th position now, away from Deanarine, and moves up into 6th position. Great move there. He's now got Pascucci he's got to chase onto, just up in front in the pink Mustang. And then further up in front of Pascucci is going to be the likes of Toth all the way to Ivanov, and these 4 fighting it out as much as they can. Toth just observing from the background, waiting for someone to make an accident so that he can potentially gain from it, but not sure if it's going to happen yet. This is the Pro Series, and they definitely know what they're doing up in the front spots.
Ivanov defending with elbows out here. He does not want Valero to get past. He's just trying to hang on in there. 8.5 minutes gone in this second race of the 30. And they're just trying to hold on to each other. And we've seen this happen in the past, where then they're coming together is almost inevitable. Will it be around this Interlagos circuit? They all look like they're fighting hard, but being respectful at the same time. We saw Toth just started to get the elbows out at the center S's at the beginning of this lap. Meats got ahead of Deanarine as well, so Deanarine back down to 8th place further back. But this is your front 4 for the lead, and Pasucci's gaining on this train as well, so Pascucci will soon be adding himself onto the rear of Toth. Toth really needs to get a move on now, because the minute he starts to come under pressure, that's when it could hurt him.
Yeah, exactly. He really does need to try and get up ahead now, but these top 3 are non-stop fighting each other, and it's getting a little bit riskier for Toth to try and stick his nose in and see what kind of damage he can do before the end of this race. Only 20 minutes left to go. That's how fast the feature race is moving here, and so he does need to slowly but surely get a move on. Grabowski, it's ahead of Dunnett. That's the battle for 15th position. Still lots to play for all over the circuit here, but a couple of drivers have started to distance themselves a bit. Unfortunately, Joff 1.6 seconds off of Pascucci, and then Pascucci 1.5 seconds off of Toth, so quite a bit of a distance right now between Joff and Toth, about 3 seconds of a distance that they've got to try and fight for, and that's going to still be one of the title deciders here between those 2 top champions. Obviously, Joff getting a much better result in race number 1, but can Toth reciprocate it and try and score the same in heat number 2? It's difficult, but he needs to get up into first to score those 50 points if he wants to tie it out with Joff. Otherwise, he will begin at losing points to his championship rival here, and we could be seeing Toth fall off from trying to conquer Joff in the championship standings.
Excuse me. And yeah, as you've just seen on board with David Toth here, where is there a gap for him to stick the nose up the inside and have a look? This is probably his best opportunity. The problem is, it's almost like it being in a DRS train in Formula 1. They're all lined up behind each other, getting the slipstream from one another. And Pascucci now within 1.1 seconds, almost within that 1 second time frame of David Toth, who is still in that slipstream. This is then Ivanov defending really hard on that inside line into turn 1. We can see on board with David Toth, the 2 leaders. Was there a little bit of contact? That's Valero's got up the inside, squeezes Ivanov onto the grass, rejoins onto the circuit. He's going to lose momentum to Muscolino. Is this Toth's opportunity to maybe follow Muscolino through the inside line? As down the Roger Pesto they go towards turn 4. Toth maybe fancies making a move of his own. Doesn't though, sits back and waits, and now we'll get the momentum. Bit of a contact there, so door to door between Toth and Ivanov just starting to lose momentum. Race drops down to 3rd. Toth's going to be on the outside line for 6, 7 and 8 and cannot get past. And look at the bottom of your screens, Pasucci is now there with them.
Yeah, joining in on that battle now, and this is really starting to get a bit elevated between the top 5, with Valero up at the top spots, with Muscolino and Ivanov all trailing behind in this 5-part train. And what was a 4-part train now turned 5-part, and guess what? Joff has pulled it down from a second to Pascucci, and he's actually managed to get it under a second, so Joff is going to join in on this train, and so is Rodrigo Meets behind, possibly even Dianarine if he can try and reduce that timer just a little bit. We have got one huge train for the battle for first here, and this is what I love to see, is when the battle for first is so contested and it's not just one massive gap, because Gael Valero is not safe at the moment from Muscolino, Ivanov, Toth, Pascucci and Joff. They're all going to be possibly contesting for the crown at the top here, but it's going to be a long, hard-fought battle, as now Toth gets ahead of Ivanov. We finally were talking about it, and Toth spots the gap and makes the moment count to try and get up ahead. He now moves up into 3rd to try and chase down on Muscolino and Valero.
As we're approaching half distance in this race, Toth almost looking like he was warming his tyres up a little bit there as he weaves his way down the Rota Pesto. Now he's up into 3rd place, puts another car between himself and Marley Joff. Once again, Pasucci in pursuit of Gabriel Ivanov, who's just started to fall back a little bit more in this race. Pasucci looks to the inside line, up in towards turn number 6. Later on the brakes, all over the curb. Great little move from Roman Pasucci. Manages to get through at turn 7 and is ahead by turn 8. Roman Pasucci has made very light work of Gabriel Ivanov there, and all of a sudden for that of David Toth, he must be looking in his mirrors thinking, I cannot catch a break here.
Yeah, from one moment to having a bit of a break and a pillow behind has unfortunately come to an end, because the likes of Pascucci and Muscolino, who are currently sandwiching the likes of Toth, are both very incredibly quick drivers here. If we're looking at the iRating difference, it's 8.5 for Andrea Muscolino, it's 10,000 for David Toth, and 9,500 for Roman Pascucci. So a lot of skill broken down between those top 3 and the top 4, apologies. And so David Toth is going to have a long, hard-fought battle here to try and get up ahead, because Pascucci is now going to put the pressure behind him. Let's hope we can see a bit of an entryway here for Marley Joff. He's right on the backside now of Gabriel Ivanov, and possibly in a position to try and overtake and get further up to chase down on his rival. But only time is going to tell, because 15 minutes left of this race. Not a lot of time left on the board here for drivers to commit to what they need to do. Johnson down in down a little bit further in the positions, and a couple of our drivers still trying to follow and gain a couple positions wherever they can.
Yeah, indeed, they are. DeSantis holding on over Rolled now for 12th and 13th place there. You see the movers and shakers. Johnson up 10 places in this race. Rolled down 12, not the race for him. Matisse down 9 spots in 20th place, still going in this race though at the moment. Then orange numbers become yellow between the top 5 as Marley Joff is all over the back of Ivanov now, with Meets to go with him. You just saw at the bottom of your screen, this could allow Maya Dianarine the chance to possibly gain onto the back of this queue of cars the more they start to fight. There is Meets and Joff and Ivanov, who has just started to fall away. And like you said, if you look at that I rating, Ivanov one of the lower I ratings out of that top 5. The only 2 lower than him is Marley Joff and then that of Andrea Muscolino in terms of their I rating at the moment. But I rating means one thing, results mean a completely other. And this is Rodrigo Meets, who is just trying to get Marley Joff through. Just trying to follow Marley Joff through on that of Ivanov in this race at the moment.
Yeah, let's have a look and see if Meets is going to be able to do it. Here comes the dive bomb on the inside line into turn number 1, and it does not look like it's going to be successful, because Joff is going to go defensive. There you can now see the I rating of all of our drivers, and the I rating is merely just a skill badge associated to a driver based on what rank they're in. But like Matthew says, iRating is one thing, and your actual track position in this specific race is a completely another story. You could be having the utmost insane iRating like we see with David Toth, obviously above the 10,000 that the K doesn't even show on our UI. But you still need to fight it out on circuit, and that is what Toth needs to do. If he wants to get first, he still needs to fight Muscolino. He still needs to fight Gal Valera up in top. It's a hard-fought battle that he needs to do, but he needs to do it and try and set it right. Rodrigo Meats still down in 7th position on the backside of Joff, and these drivers are still continuing to try and push on and try and make some overtakes. But in the background, it is Avelo, Boyshev, and Neshev as they chase onto the backside of Dianarine. So these two have made a bit of a swift recovery to get back up into the top 10, but it's still going to be a hard-fought battle that Avelo Boyshev has got to do here, with the likes of Johnson behind and Neshev up in front. Will be someone he wants to try and capitalize on.
Yeah, and they're trying to close in on Mayor Dianarine as well, who's in 8th place, just dropped off the back of Meats and Joff in this race for the time being. Ivanov, by the way, over a second now from Pasucci. So that's just delaying Joff and his momentum in this race at the moment. As further forward we go, there is Joff and Meats in this race. David Toff is all over the back of Muscolino and will be looking to try and get a run down towards turn number 4. They head down the Rotterdam. They go once more. David Toff would love to win this race because he'd actually come away from this week gaining points over Joff if he was to win, and Joff stayed in P number 6. He'd gain points because don't forget, David Toff finished P4 in that first race, all over, pushing the track limits as much as they dare out of turn number 5 and up to 6. There you go. Just nowhere for David Toth at the moment to get past, although he was possibly having a little look. Took a tighter line on the apex of the corner.
Yeah, definitely trying to look out here. And like we just spoke about in terms of points, is that if David Toth wants to try and equal out or even possibly get a couple more points on the board, he has to get first position. Yeah, he has to 100% reference what Marley Joff got, unless he, unfortunately, otherwise he will be a bit further down on the timings board compared to where Marley Joff is now, who's at 6th position. And so David Toth really does need to try and get up ahead of Muscolino and then push on to Valero. It's a 3/10 gap to Muscolino now, and then obviously a bit further up towards Valero of 1 second. And with only 12 minutes left on the board, there is not a lot of time here for the likes of David Toth to make his decisions count. Rodrigo Meats is also pushing on to the backside of Joff and really putting pressure there from the Fiercely Forward team, showing why the team name is exactly what it is. Fiercely moving forward and putting pressure on the drivers up ahead, and that's exactly what he's doing to the likes of Marley Joff and Ivanov up in front. It's respective to him as well, as these three will continue to fight it out with the utmost punctuality and sportsmanship out on the field. Let's hope for it, as Marley Joff still holds down on 6th position. Meats now in 7th, and then Dianarine a little bit further behind there. You can see still in the green Mustang, just trying to hold off on the top 8.
Yeah, Neshev and Boyshev have got onto the back of Dianarine now. So Dianarine coming under a little bit of pressure from the two drivers behind him, the Bulgarian and the Israeli driver, just trying to put the Canadian under some form of pressure in this race. Valero has got the gap. It did just dip over a second out front, so Valero just starting to stretch his legs over that of Muscolino in this race at the moment. Out front there, you can see that gap opening up. David Toth did the fastest lap, not last lap, but the lap before. So David Toth is the fastest driver out there in this race at the moment. As we do just see a change for position. That's Neshev and Boyshev getting both past Dianarine there. Dianarine still sticking with them, so I wonder if one followed the other through. And Dianarine dropping down into P10. He can be happy though with today's work. We've not seen him up in the top 10 this season so far, and in Format B he showed his class so far tonight as Mayor Dianarine.
Yeah, definitely so. And Dianarine still currently sitting down in 10th. Here's the replay though of what happened to him. So currently holding out, and just behind there is one of the other Mustang drivers he's been fighting it out with. Into the inside line he goes, and hard contact with the likes of Boyshev, and he's going to get knocked out, and that's why he lost 2 positions in one go from Yon and Ivelo. And unfortunately down to 10th. He will move from 8th position, and it's going to be a bit of a fight if he wants to try and get those moves back. It's currently sitting down, holding off the battle for 10th position. 10th is still going to be good points on the board for him, so let's not forget that. But he obviously does want to try and push up and get a couple better points out on the board for his team. Marley Joff still holds off in 3rd position for the time being, and not able to get ahead of Muscolino just as of yet. But Matthew, like we always say with Toth here, is that Toth for Toth, time is running out because there is only 9 minutes left to go here. And in order to get ahead of Muscolino, he's got to try and lock in, and he's got to try and push that car a little bit further if he wants to get ahead of Muscolino, who now is also starting to distance himself from Valero.
Yep, and here comes Joff making that move on Ivanov down the inside. He'll be on the outside for turn 11 as they come down towards Jungsao. Is Joff going to try and just tuck back in? No, he's not, side by side. Does this open the door then for Meeks? Contact! Joff's in the wall! Joff and Ivanov into the wall. Did Ivanov just squeeze Joff a little too much through Jungsao? And here comes Neshev and Boyshev and Dienarine. Joff with some big damage potentially on the front of that car. Ivanov is towed back to the pit lane. And Neshev now all over the back of Marley Joff. And David Toth might be licking his lips at the end of the night, because if Joff finishes down the order, Toth may not need to win this race to claw some points back.
Yeah, it looks like Joff was able to recover that car quite swiftly, and he's still holding off on 6th position for the time being. But now he's got the pressure from Neshev, Boyshev, and Dionarine. We'll try to get a replay there of what happened, because that was quite a drastic event
that's
happened.
Sorry, Tris, that's Dienarine looking to go 3 wide here with Neshev and Boyshev in this race, but backs out of that one coming down the Rota Pesto. Looks to tuck underneath that of Boyshev once again here. Does he get the move? He has got underneath, as we can see a replay of what has happened. So this is Ivanov on the inside line, the blue and black car. Does he just run Joff out of a little bit of room there? Oh, looks like just a bit of a coming together, 50-50. Not really anybody to blame on that one. There was just about a car's width left, and they just made a bit of coming together. Now, has Dienarine got through? No, he has not. He stays where he is. But look in the background behind DeSantis. Look at that gaggle of cars all coming together.
Yeah, huge group of cars there fighting out. That's DeSantis, the Grabowski, Johnson, Rolled, Halsband, Carr, Dunnett, Eisenring. Eisenring, no, apologies, not a part of that fight. 11 seconds down. So all the way down from the likes of 10th to 16th, the 6-car grid, fighting it out for 10th position here. And we've obviously got the likes of DeSantis holding off on 10th position and hoping that he could potentially try and move his way up and keep away from Grabowski and Johnson coming towards the end of this race. Only 7 minutes left to go here, and Joff has been able to keep 6th position even with the front end damage. Let's hope he can keep it, or else he will potentially face a couple more points loss coming towards Toth.
Grabowski's got ahead of DeSantis for that of 10th and 11th place in this race. So DeSantis loses out one to the Ferrari driver of Grabowski. Then 10th and 11th has changed around. Johnson, Rolled, Holzband, Carr, done it all in that queue for that 10th place spot. Does this allow Grabowski the chance to start to pull away from DeSantis? Well, not down the Rota Presto, it doesn't, because Grabowski has got the Italian driver all over the back of that Ferrari as they push up towards turn number 6. They're all coming side by side almost. Johnson and Rolled looking to go side by side. Soto's got past Eisenring for 17th and 18th, but Rolled tucks back in behind. And now Grabowski and DeSantis just open up a little bit of space between the set of 4 cars behind. The Super Phase team here of Holzband and Rolled right in a sandwich between that of Johnson and Carr, who look like they're running the same team for the Raceforge Esports team there then. So a battle of the teams in this mid-pack race at the moment. But Toth coming under pressure now, not trying to pressurise Muscolino for second, coming under pressure from Pascucci for 3rd place all of a sudden. And Joff is not tumbling down the order with that damage. Joff isn't tumbling down the order with the damage. Toth needs to hang on for 3rd place.
Yeah, let's see if Toth can hang on here, because Pascucci is putting the pressure on with 6 minutes left to go. It's not a lot of time that Toth has got to defend here, but it's still time out on track where the likes of Pascucci is going to try their best to try and get ahead of the likes of David Toth here. And so that's going to be a hard defensive move that David Toth has got to pull, because Pascucci is going to try every possible corner here to get up ahead. And when the situation is most dire coming towards the end of this race, I think that Pascucci is not going to let it slide for Toth to be up in 3rd position. But this is good news for him, because it's good points on the board compared to what obviously Joff is doing down at 6th position. Look, Joff isn't incredibly off the timings tower, but it's still going to be points. Is in the background there. Pascucci is now putting pressure on with Toth, and now going side by side with each other. A bit of contact between the two of them, and Pascucci getting a little bit elbow to elbow with them, and Toth still holds off on 3rd position even after the onslaught and attack there from Pascucci.
Yeah, and it looked like he made contact with Toth, just went in a little too hot into the corner, made a bit of contact. That's put Toth off the back of Muscolino. So Muscolino now gets some breathing space, and Metz is only 1.8 seconds behind. So can they get onto the back of this pack with 4 minutes left on the clock, just over? This is now David Toth, who's got to defend for his life for that third place in this race. Muscolino and Valero look pretty comfortable out front in this one. Joff still under pressure from Neshev in the background, who's pulled away from Boyshev and Dienarine. So this is Neshev trying to attack the rear of the defending pro champion Marley Joff, down in towards the centre as they come for the 18th time of asking. Pasucci within a tenth of David Toff. It's just dropped under a tenth. They might be going at it here as Grabowski going side by side, nose to tail between that of Toth and Pasucci, and Toth for now holds on.
Yeah, great defensive maneuvers coming there from Toth to keep on to third position, but he's going to have to work for it, with the final 4 minutes, because this is where the pressure is going to come in. Grabowski now goes side by side there. Eric Halsband in the background is starting to disappear a little bit. Sorry, and I believe that's actually Johnson, who had a bit of a blipping issue there. But DeSantis now loses out to Grabowski. That's the battle for 10th has changed up as DeSantis now gets back ahead of Grabowski. So the two of these two drivers have been back and forth for quite a while now, and it all depends on where they are in terms of track position and where the actual corner starts and which direction the corner is starting as to who's on the inside and who's on the outside line. And for the time being, Grabowski has gotten the advantage, and it's contact with DeSantis as Johnson tries to breach up on the inside, and indeed he's going to move up, I believe, and Johnson moves up, and Rold also tries to get up ahead of DeSantis, but not enough, and DeSantis is able to claim back just on Rold there, but unfortunately loses out from 10th down to 12th. DeSantis is going to go, and with just about 2.5 minutes left to go, this is going to be a long, hard push for him if he wants to try and get ahead of these two cars up in front. He's really going to have to try his best here, or else he'll have to settle for 12th.
Crazy day at Interlagos between the AMs and the pros as we enter our final 2.5 minutes. That is Neshev once again having a little look on the inside of that of Marley Joff, down in towards the centre S's. Through turn 3 they go now, and what a night of racing it has been here at Interlagos at the league by Foxxtecca as DeSantis coming under pressure from Rold to the outside line, looks to get that inside through turn 3, doesn't have it. Holzband almost had a look to try and get the momentum out the corner. They've got Carr and Ty Dunnett on the back of this queue as well. Grabowski and Johnson just starting to pull away from that of DeSantis as later on the brakes Dunnett went there, almost had a bit of a moment into the back of Tyler Carr. But what a race this is turning out to be for this, and this is for 10th place, let's not forget. But this man, your race leader, on the penultimate lap of the race, he'll have one more to go after this. Valero, since taking the lead from that of Ivanov, has not put a foot wrong.
Yeah, Valero has just been absolutely squared away for this race, and you can just see it by the distance he keeps on walking away with here from Muscolino. Toth looks like he's going to be able to defend here from Pascucci, but he's still got one more full lap that he's got to do it for. Valero will head on to the penultimate lap, the second last lap before we the last lap now, apologies, that they'll be heading on to before the end of this race. And Valero, like we mentioned, has been stone cold brave up at the top spots there. Absolutely zero errors coming from the French driver, and after getting ahead of Ivanov, he's just not let anybody concede him up in the top spots, and he's just continued to push himself to be better and better. And it looks like today it's all going to pay off if he continues to push the same streak here for this final lap with the likes of David Toth. He's still feeling the pressure from Pascucci, and Pascucci, this is going to be the lap of desperation. We've got to keep our eyes on the likes of Toth and Pascucci, because this is the final time that Pascucci is going to have to try and get ahead of Toth and break into the podiums.
And what a weird 3 weeks Pascucci's had. He came into this championship a little bit late as Joff going side by side with Neshev. Is that Neshev looking around the outside into turn 6? Yes, it is. Joff will have that inside line for 6, 7 and 8. But if Neshev can hold it, he'll have the inside going into turn 9. Joff looking to be later on the brakes. Neshev looking to try and hold it around the outside. Does he still have the nose there into turn 9? Yes, he does. Neshev trying to get the momentum up towards turn 10. Still on that outside for the moment He'll new tang it around this one to have the inside for 11. Can't do so. And now we turn our attention back to the leaders. Valero, who leads this race, been in control since passing that of Ivanov, is about to come to the line, and we get another new race winner this season. It is going to be that of Gel Valero to win the race here at Interlagos. Great win for him. Muscolino P2, Toth hangs on for third from Pasucci. Meats will take that of P5 in this race, and Neshev almost in a drag race to the line with that of Marley Joff. Who's going to take the crown? It'll be Marley Joff the crown. Who's going to take P6? Sorry, Marley Joff does, ahead of Neshev.
Yeah, great little race down to the line there for the likes of Joff, and he really needed to make sure he kept 6th there to try and keep as many points as possible that he can place against Toth, who finished off in 3rd position. Kevin Rold will come down into 13th position, with 14th being Halsband and a couple of our other drivers. Matisse, unfortunately, after that contact, will be finishing down 19th, and unfortunately 5 drivers from Ivanov down to Sierra did not finish this race, and Rosalini Matisse just coming across the checkered flag line to wrap up pro race number 2. And what a night overall it has been of Interlagos racing, but the Pro Series once again did not disappoint, nor did the AM Series. Talking about our classifications though, it is going to be Gael Valero who finishes this race well up on top, ahead of Andrea Mascolino in 2nd. David Toth takes 3rd with Roman Pascucci in 4th. It's Rodrigo Meets to 5th position, with Molly Joff getting those points in 6th position. Yoneshev and Devailo Boyshev, the 2 drivers who stuck together for most of this race, 7th and 8th position. Mayadine Areen takes 9th. Dennis Grabowski does take 10th, with Elon Johnson in 11th. Rafael DeSantis, Kevin Rold, Eric Halsband, Tyler Carr, Ty Dunnett, Russell Soto down 17th, Ed Eisenring down 18th, Rosalini Matisse in 19th, Gabriel Ivanov, Gabriel Jones, 21st, 22nd, Justin Hodge, Walter Dunk, and Javier Sierra. To round off your final car out on the grid, those final 5, unfortunately, did not finish the race. And that's officially it for your Pro Series in terms of Heat number 1 and Heat number 2.
Indeed it is, and we head to Road America for another Format B next week, which enters the back half of the season. What has been, Tristan, a fantastic night of action here at Interlagos. Brazil never seems to disappoint, neither does this circuit. We've got a couple of minutes left of the broadcast where we'll wait to see if anybody comes in for a quick chat, but the amateur race tonight has lit off the early fireworks for the pros to have a fantastic race at the end. And David Toth, you know, does he gain some points over Marley Joff due to the points differential in these 2 races? We'll wait and see. We do have somebody in for an interview, Tristan, and I'll let you take this one while I just run off somewhere quickly.
Yeah, Maydoreen joining us here in the commentary box. You're live at Apex Racing TV for the league by Foxxtecca. And I mean, talk us through that pro race. Definitely one to remember by, and especially with that beautiful green livery out on circuit.
Yeah, that one was... I don't want to say it was a mess because everybody was racing really clean, but it was a mess. Like that was crazy. The first race was not bad for me. I went from 16th to 10th, made up a few spots, and the liveries helped me out a little bit. So I thank that. And then in the second one, started 10th, got to 5th on the first lap, defending some of the guys who are winning in the class, which is what I want to be, who I want to be racing with, right? So I kept them behind for about 2 laps, and I'm super happy with it, and just got to keep moving on. I wanted to get 2 top 10s. Technically, I did, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah, that's great points on the board there as well for yourself. Talking about it, though, this is obviously our first Format B race of the season. What are your opinions? Obviously, you've been here last season as well in the AM category, so you've done the Format B before. But what are your opinions between the Format A and Format B, especially here at Interlagos?
Well, I mean, I love the Format A, right? You got that full 1-hour race where you got to have some strategy with your pit stop. You got to manage tires a little bit depending on what track it is. But Format B is 2 sprints, right? So everybody's going full out. Everybody puts their cards on the table and says, like, I want to win, right? And you kind of saw it in that one. There was people who were kind of wrecking into each other. I just tried to avoid it, and I end up coming out well. So I love Format A and I love Format B, but Format B gives some really good racing. I think it's the same for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. The Format B definitely does give a good characteristic twist of all the racing. We do head to Road America, I believe, next week. I don't think there's going to be any kind of fanatic livery scheduled up there for the DO Racing unless there's something in the pipelines for you guys. But how are you feeling for Road America and the Mustang?
Oh, I'm feeling extremely good. I actually just raced at Road America, I think, I want to say about a month ago in USF Pro 2000. So I'm going to be back there in a GT3 car, going to be a little bit different. But I know the track pretty well. So I'm thinking I can do well. Again, just making progress, 2 or 3 spots per race is all I'm looking for.
Incredible stuff. Yeah, that small bit of consistency is going to drive the long way in terms of the point standings. And I mean, finally, before you head out of the commentary box tonight, after some good, clean, consistent racing, is anybody you'd like to thank or mention before you head out?
I'd like to thank my team, Dio Racing, my brother, and my other teammates who were kind of helping me out while we were training all together. My parents for allowing me to stay up this late again, and you guys, of course, for putting on an amazing broadcast. Thank you very much.
Incredible stuff. Thank you so much for joining us in the box, Mayor, and hopefully we see you next week, same time at Road America. Have a good one.
Sure. Thank you very much.
That was Mayor Dianarine. Very, very consistent drive from him tonight, Matthew, and did incredibly well. We've got Gail, our Pro Series driver, which I'm going to drag up for you to have a chat with.
Yeah, indeed. Gail, welcome to the commentary box. You're live on the league by Foxxtecca. Fantastic race win in that second race tonight. It looked like the minute you got past Ivanov, you was in full control of leading that race.
Yeah, hello guys. I'm glad to be here for the first time. Hopefully some more, but I took a lot of these races because just the time and kind of getting sleep deprived of everything.
Us too.
Yeah, the couple of races where it is a tough track to overtake, to do moves. I think you saw on the first race, like the top 7 didn't move. Well, lost no position. I had to take back some position at the start, but yeah. Had to make that move for the lead and took a couple of laps for it. I think my move is clean enough to not have any penalty of some sort. And after that, you can really see on the track where certain drivers are not as comfortable as others, and get into a rhythm. And I could see that Ivanov was not quite getting there, and he's making mistakes. So this is where you have to capitalize on, and this can make a domino effect behind you, basically.
Indeed. Like you say, it was about capitalising on where the other driver was a little bit weaker than yourself, and you have to capitalise on it. Obviously, first Format B race of the season. What was your thoughts on the Format B this time around? So obviously, we've done a couple of Format A's in the first couple of weeks of this championship. Format B tonight, it provided some different kind of racing, didn't it?
Yes, definitely less strategic and more to the point, let's say. So many more things happen. You get to be both opportunistic, but still remind yourself that this is a league. There's consequences to your actions. So you have to balance everything out. And I think tonight I did a pretty good job, and we'll see in Road America if I can forward this.
Indeed. Well, for Road America, Format B, what's your thoughts going forward into Road America? What can you do?
Still lacking a little bit of pace. Yes, Marley just has something on us, so yeah, gotta work for it. He's having a pretty good start of the season. Probably his first little bit of a downer, but yeah, I'm sure he'd be back there in no time. And yeah, we have great competition between 5 guys that are pretty much fighting for the champ, and some surprising outsiders behind that can always deliver something.
Indeed. Lastly tonight, is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Like my coffee machine for it is terrible, guys. I'm having such a bad time. During the races, the flow state, I'm the opposite of that. I think of everything. This is terrible.
I feel we both feel your pain there, Tristan and myself. Obviously, early hours of the morning here in the UK and in South Africa as well. So, Gail, we'll let you get off to get some sleep and get some rest, because me and Tristan won't be far behind you. Put it that way. But well done tonight on the race win, and enjoy some well-earned sleep.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the broadcast.
Indeed. Tristan, that brings to an end of Interlagos in what has been an absolutely eventful night. Probably the night over all the 3 seasons we've covered, it has been one of the best nights on the league by Foxxtecca. We go, though, into our American leg for the final 4 races of this season. Road America next time out before we head to Sebring, VIR, and ending it all at the St. Petersburg circuit. Been an absolute pleasure once again, Tristan, to be joined by you in the commentary box.
Yeah, it's been a great night of racing. Interlagos has proved its worth yet again, so I hope to see its return in season number 4. It's been a fantastic night of racing, though, and we'll see you next week at Road Atlanta to begin our American leg with your Format B racing, coming back to you with your AMs and your pros. Have a good evening further to everyone who joined us in the virtual grandstand. Have a good sleep to all our Europeans and anybody not in the American time zone, and to all the Americans, have a good further rest of your night. Have a good one, ladies and gentlemen. Cheers, cheers.
From me, from Tristan and Jim Cunningham, the dream team, as we all know. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.